Imagine being stuck in a body that just won't slim down. Meet our hero, Siwoo. Since childhood, he ran 20 kilometers daily following the legendary Saitama routine to the absolute limit. He barely ate a crumb, yet his stubborn body fat stayed exactly where it was. After endless rejections, destiny calls. Siwoo is summoned to a monster world thanks to his goblin ancestry. And now, to survive, he'll have to get shredded. But his life wasn't always this intense. As the golden afternoon sun dips, the final school bell echoes through the halls. Startled, she blinks in confusion. Brave Siwoo repeats his confession, pouring his heart out to her. He admits his feelings sparked the very first moment their eyes met. In that quiet classroom, he vows his heart hasn't wavered for a single second. Stunned by his honesty, she covers her mouth, lost in a heavy, awkward silence. Holding his breath for an answer, he simply can't take his eyes off her. Hanging his head, he softly apologizes if his words caused her any discomfort or stress. She quickly objects, insisting she could never hate him. Smiling, she says he's actually a wonderful person. She mentions how thoughtful and genuinely fun he is to be around. Why would I hate you, she asks. She pauses, clearly holding back a much harder truth. Cut to later. While others play outside, a lonely figure stands by the basketball court, lost in thought. His best friend walks over, eager to hear the final verdict on the big confession. Siwoo trudges past, telling him to drop it. His pal offers a supportive arm, having expected this. Through misty eyes, he explains she needs to study. His friend scoffs, noting she's never even touched a textbook. Dropping his gaze, he wonders why his body refuses to cooperate with his life's goals. Suddenly, a stray soccer ball comes zooming toward them like a high-speed guided missile. With lightning reflexes, he snatches the speeding ball right out of the air with one hand. The players rush over, frantically checking if their wild kick caused any injuries. Clutching the ball, he sighs, questioning why his genetics are so bizarrely unique and stubborn. His friend nods, admitting he's just as baffled by Siwoo's strange physical situation. He points out that Siwoo is actually an athlete at heart and incredibly talented at sports. Plus, he tracks every single calorie with the discipline of a professional bodybuilder. If other dieters had half his grit, everyone on Earth would have washboard abs by now. His buddy suggests a medical checkup, but Siwoo has already explored that frustrating dead end. When asked for the diagnosis, he reveals it's all down to his mysterious family genes. Back at his place, he lets himself in, greeted only by the quiet, empty air. Inside, he gazes at old photos, whispering that frustrating word genes under his breath. Staring at the portraits, he wishes it were that simple. Taking his parents' photo, he thinks that at least a genetic curse would justify giving up. He admires his mother's picture, noting her timeless beauty that never seems to fade away. Tracing the frame, he laments that he never had the chance to meet his father. Still holding that image, he reflects on the legendary stories he's heard about the man. A memory surfaces of his father, the iconic Korean fighter who once dominated the professional ring. Despite a brief career, his sheer power and records were nothing short of legendary. His mother always said his father grew muscles effortlessly, as if it were pure magic. In the present, he sighs at his long day. Steeling his resolve, he says, "All right then." He ignites the stove. Our hero decides to ditch the diet since it's clearly a total scam. Peering into the fridge, he sighs that years of effort yielded zero results. He ponders a massive feast to drown his stress, standing frozen in dramatic silence. He grips the snack package, his fingers trembling with intense, hungry anticipation. Ultimately, his big feast is just one lonely tomato skewered on a fork. Seated with poise, he begrudgingly nibbles his salad with warrior-like discipline. That night, he hits the city trails for a grueling moonlit cardio run. Gasping for air, he refuses to let his burning lungs stop his pace. Checking his phone, he tracks every agonizing inch of his midnight training session. His app pings new speed record. Thinking of her, he vows to never quit. Halting in exhaustion, he realizes he's just smashed through his personal best record. Panting heavily, he mutters that he might have pushed himself way too hard today. Glancing at his surroundings, he realizes he has no clue where he is. This neighborhood looks totally alien and his internal GPS is spinning out. He pulls up a map, but a mysterious voice suddenly praises his impressive speed. The stranger chuckles, claiming such incredible talent must run in the boy's blood. Suddenly, the old-timer dives from the sky like a legendary martial arts master. The sheer impact of the landing leaves our hero completely dazed and confused. Sprawled on the dirt, he politely asks if the elder survived that massive fall. "Don't be alarmed." The man grins, introducing himself as the legendary Mangtae. He then reveals his true title, the Supreme Judge of this hidden realm. Mangtae explains that he's the one keeping Korea's rowdy demon population in check. Noticing the blank stare, the elder realizes the boy is actually totally clueless. Cutting to the chase, he snatches the lad for a sudden field trip. With a flourish, Mangtae tosses him onto a cloak, revealing a brand new world. Collapsing onto the ground. He struggles to process the surreal, bizarre landscape stretching out before his eyes. An epic, otherworldly horizon unfolds, unlike anything he's ever seen before. "Welcome to the Demon Realm, kid," Mangtae announces with a proud, cheerful grin. The old man gestures toward the valley, urging him to take it all in. Down below, countless monstrous entities roam the true inhabitants of this dark world. These bizarre creatures are the official citizens of this ancient and hidden domain. Humans once prayed to them, though now they're dismissed as simple bedtime stories. Every 666 years, a grand festival determines the next Demon King. Each demon tribe must present their strongest young champion to compete for glory. Mangtae recounts the legend of a prehistoric king who ruled with absolute power. A fleeting vision reveals the terrifying majesty of that ancient, all-powerful demon monarch. But just as the story peaks, the boy yells for a timeout, asking how this chaos involves a normal guy. The rules are simple. Every single species must provide a contender for the throne. Then comes the bombshell. Our hero carries the rare ancient blood of goblins. He's apparently a fifth-generation descendant of a legendary long-lost supernatural lineage. Backing away in total disbelief, he claims it's a mistake, but then flinches as something massive shadows the sky. Boom. A colossal beast crashes down, blocking his path with sheer terrifying force. Still as a statue, he hears Mangtae announce a little pop quiz is coming. Glaring at the kid, the beast warns the old man to stick to the deal. Mangtae promises to honor the pact if the creature becomes the ultimate music champion. Once finished, he agrees the monster can feast on his remains. Licking its chops, the brute won't let this delicious prize escape its grasp. Watching the beast charge, the poor kid curls up, hoping for the best. In a flash, the creature springs up and loads a music world-ending punch. It connects perfectly, launching the boy into the stratosphere. Soaring through the air, he slams into the dirt with bone-rattling force. The crash carves a crater. From the sidelines, the beast scoffs, music, saying puny humans have no business at this grand festival. Mangtae shouts a warning, "Prove your worth now or face the end." Pinned to the floor, the kid groans that everything hurts like crazy. He glances up just as a massive shadow looms over him again. With lightning speed, the monster grabs him and floor slams him. It grumbles about the kid being oddly sturdy. It sneers that this beating is just tenderizing him for the main course. Raising a massive claw, the beast prepares to finish the job. With jaws wide, it dives in to crush the boy once and for all. It strikes the earth with fury, sending a massive dust cloud into the sky. From the distance, Mangtae silently watches the brutal beatdown unfold. Lost in a frenzy, the monster keeps hammering the ground without stopping. But as the dust clears, it realizes its target has vanished. Music. Suddenly, the boy is standing right on the monster's own arm. Recalling the goblins, Mangtae notes their martial prowess was truly bottomless. Then music. The kid grabs his own jacket and rips it wide open. Looking totally different, he hoists the monster's massive limb over his head. Mangtae explains that their deadliest weapons were actually the games they played. No training needed, the combat instincts were literally baked into his DNA. Straining every muscle, he actually lifts the entire beast by its arm. He looks up, bracing himself against the massive weight. Using a legendary goblin wrestling move, he slams the monster down hard. Executing the throw perfectly, he buries the beast into the earth with power. A massive explosion of dust marks the end of the epic clash. Standing over his foe, he looks like a regular guy again. He takes a long music breath to recover, but the secret of his bloodline is finally out. He is music, in fact, a half-goblin. Back to reality, he's just hanging by a shop. His buddy asks how that wild story he was telling actually ended. Taking a sip of music juice, he shrugs and says it just stopped there. Thinking back, he figures the whole brawl was just a bizarre dream. Music, relaxing at the table, he jokes that getting thrashed wasn't exactly a blast. His friend wonders if the dream was real, since skills often carry over. The pal points out the kid never learned to fight, which is true. Discussing the vision, he says the moves felt like second nature. He claims he could still scrap right now. They both share a laugh at the crazy thought. Music. His buddy tells him to keep his cool and not get ahead of himself. Squeezing his juice box flat, he blames all this weirdness on simple stress. Checking his reflection, he can't believe he leveled up into a hunk so fast. Suddenly, his form shifts again, sending him into a total comedic panic. Completely lost, he glances down to see a physique he definitely didn't have yesterday. A voice rings out, and he spins around to find a very unexpected visitor. Strolling with a girl, Mangtae explains that our hero just pulled a fainting act. He scans the area, and it finally sinks in. This definitely isn't a dream. With a battered face, he takes in the new landscape with surprising seriousness. Just a few feet away, the monster he fought remains totally wiped out. Standing by the beast, he watches it wail on the ground in agony. Plopping down, he wonders how on earth he's supposed to commute home now. Mangtae turns to the girl and asks for her honest review of the kid. She doesn't hold back, calling him a massive disappointment to her expectations. After watching the fight, she labels them all as just pathetic, clumsy creatures. She asks if he's sure about the goblin blood, ignoring his heroic efforts. Glancing at the beast, she sighs that it was just messy brute force. She adds that he barely managed to scrape by with a win. Stepping up, the boy finally finds a gap to jump into their conversation. Claiming he's proven his worth, he asks to leave, but Mangtae isn't done. Looking at how the whole situation was playing out, the local crowd seemed completely floored by the chaotic turn of events. They buzzed about the one-hit knockout, whispering that the goblin bloodline was back, hovering near the fallen beast. He tries to stop his lungs from burning after that intense workout. While the boy recovers, Mangtae slowly struts toward the middle of the arena. Thumping his staff on the dirt, he announces it's time for the verdict. Pointing a finger, he officially labels the poor kid as a full-fledged demon. The boy's jaw drops as Mangtae asks if anyone has a problem. With the deal sealed, he orders the news broadcast across the entire land. Among the demon crowd, the return of a goblin was the hottest gossip. Mangtae explains this means no one can mess with him for free anymore. Still hopeful, the boy politely asks one more time if he can leave. The girl calls him a dummy and reminds him he's a demon now. Crossing her arms, she explains that his human world pass has been revoked. Hearing this, Mangtae sighs that the kid doesn't get it, leaving him no other choice. Mangtae jokingly threatens to end him, causing the boy to leap back. Scrambling away, he asks what kind of crazy day he's actually having, noting the massive distance. He realizes he cleared 50 yards in one hop and stares back. From across the way, Mangtae chuckles, asking if he's finally feeling the power. On his knees, he's told his DNA is now 100% supernatural. Mangtae explains that goblins are beasts and he's 10 times stronger than average. He adds that a normal human would have literally exploded from this power. He nods along as Mangtae confirms the wait is only 6 short months. Shocked, he discovers the 500-year law was actually the previous king's decree. Rewinding 66 years, a man desperately sprints through a pitch-black forest at night. Back in those days, demons had total freedom to wander the human realm. Racing through the woods, the poor guy trips, losing all hope of getting away. Paralyzed on the dirt, he shakes in terror as a massive centipede looms ahead. The monster turns around, locking its gaze on him for a tense second. With no exit in sight, the man breaks down in total hopeless despair. Suddenly another demon arrives. Folklore says some demons were actually pretty friendly neighbors, even while shielded. He was still terrified. For 666 years, humans both feared and loved them. Following the festival, the new Demon King wasn't happy with that arrangement at all. He passed a fresh law strictly banning demons from ever hurting humans again. Consequently, humans forgot they existed, viewing them only as old fairy tales today. However, Mangtae warns this peace ends soon since the king is being ousted. He says the demons have waited 666 years for this chance. During the legendary Night of Demons, they'll all flood into the human world. Weighing his choices, he asks where he can go to master his new powers. He wonders exactly how powerful he'll rank compared to all the other demons. Noticing his fresh determination, Mangtae asks what caused the sudden change of heart. Replying honestly, he says he just wants to keep certain people safe. Thinking of his mom and best friend, he knew he had to protect them. Claiming his lineage is powerful, Mangtae says he can definitely keep them safe. Mentioning another perk, he notes that as the future king, he could write new laws. The girl scoffs, doubting he'd even survive the festival. Realizing his mistake, Mangtae says sorry for not introducing the two of them sooner. Meet Seolhwa now. She claims intros are pointless since she'll never see him. She then demands her test, clarifying her motives. Mangtae mentions she wants to visit the human realm too. The boy is still confused, but she warns him not to take forever getting ready. Grumbling about the exam, she brags that she's far superior to most other demons. He agrees, but points out she lacks the necessary patience and calm self-control. She sighs, hoping this isn't just another delay tactic. As he starts to leave, he tells her he's too busy for her, fits with the festival approaching fast. Halting them, Mangtae announces that today is actually her lucky day for an exam. Outlining his plan, he explains the boy is her golden ticket to prove herself. Disbelieving his words, she prays he isn't about to say what she's dreading. He gives her 1 month to train the boy. If she succeeds, they go together. Shocked by the offer, she screams that there's no way he's being serious, gesturing at the kid. She argues it's impossible to teach him the basics in 1 short month. Remaining calm, he mentions it's fine if she'd rather turn the offer down. Cornered, she snaps that 1 month or 6 won't change how hard this is. Leaving it to her, he warns the clock's ticking. Suddenly, a portal starts opening nearby. Mengtae suggests betting on the kid before vanishing through a portal. Facing the boy, she admits she is asking even though she already knows. Then she asks if he has any clue what demonic energy actually is. With a sigh, she figures there is no way he would know that. Suddenly, his eyes pop as a shadow looms right behind her. Without warning, that nasty monster from before reappears right behind her. The beast points past her, growling that the boy belongs to him. Ignoring her, the beast demands Mengtae return. Seolhwa just scoffs at his rudeness. Stepping close, she tells him his species is why everyone looks down on them. Music. Shaking with fury, the creature glares and then charges to restart the fight. Meanwhile, we learn that humans are mostly the same deep down. But when it comes to demons, things are quite different. They differ by species and bloodlines. Raw potential and skills create a massive gap in their social classes. Since goblins went extinct, everyone argues about which species is now at the top. Looking at the frozen monster, she playfully asks if it is feeling okay. Grinning, she gets ready to drop the name of the world's strongest species. Unveiling her tail, Seolhwa dares the beast to keep the fight going. Behind her, Big Mouth appears totally locked down by glowing magical chains. Despite the crazy scene, Seo Choi stays quiet and watches the drama unfold. He realizes that freezing up in shock will not help him survive this. Turning back, she asks the boy if he can witness what is happening. She explains this is demonic magic fueled entirely by one's demonic energy. In her mini lesson, she says there are two types inherent and acquired, like how a goblin's battle skill is built into their DNA. Shining music. Acquired magic is different. Any demon can master it through hard work. She points at Big Mouth as a sad example of skipping your training. With a sneer, she calls him the textbook definition of a low-class loser. After the lecture, she offers to train him, but has one condition. Getting serious, she says she hates wasting time and suggests he just quit. She warns this challenge might be way too hard for a former human, but Seo Choi vows to do whatever it takes to survive her training. Seeing his grit, she hears him insist that he must learn this. He tells her not to worry. She smiles, noting his tiny chance is better than zero. Then she says they will start with lunch, which leaves Seo Choi totally baffled. She reminds him that you need demonic energy to cast any kind of magic. She continues. Everyone here has it, she says, but his tank is basically on empty. Usually it builds up naturally, but it is only his first day here. She explains that human food is useless for charging up his demonic batteries. She teases that he must be starving after such a wild battle, but Seo Choi replies that he does not feel hungry at all right now. Suddenly a jolt hits his chest, making his eyes go wide with shock. Suddenly his body starts glitching like a bad lag spike, and his hands begin shaking like he's had way too much caffeine. Seolhwa just gives him a friendly little "I told you so" look. She reminds our hero that his internal battery is sitting at 0% after that previous big boss battle. Basically, he has hit a classic case of magical burnout. Oops. Since she is always helpful, she mentions a super simple fix for this little problem. She swoops in and catches him right before he does a total faceplant on the floor. While holding Seo Choi, she points at the grumpy demon nearby and asks if he can still see his target. She explains that in these official supervised matches, there is a very specific and slightly scary rule. With a cheerful smile, she notes that the winner gets to decide if the loser stays on the map. Then she politely suggests it is time for him to go ahead and devour the guy. It is basically the quickest way to recharge those tired stats, she explains. Apparently, Big Mouth species is like a premium energy drink. Driven by pure instinct, Seo Choi starts waddling toward his snack. This was the very first time he had ever felt such a massive craving for a mid-fight meal. Watching the show, Seolhwa realizes her little motivational whispers worked a bit too well. With his eyes glowing bright red, our hungry hero has only one thing on his mind: lunchtime. As he slowly inches closer to the big monster, Seolhwa doesn't notice any changes at first, but the hungry goblin inside him finds a much tastier option nearby. Wait a second. Seolhwa realizes with a shock that she is the one on the new menu. Right at that moment, Seo Choi suddenly jumps into action. He zooms straight towards Seolhwa at high speed, leaving her completely baffled by his rude table manners. Reacting with lightning-fast grace, she quickly whips up some magical chains to keep things friendly and controlled. Seolhwa lets out a big burst of energy, creating a spectacular little explosion right on the spot. A bit surprised by her own fireworks, she stops to see the result of her defensive move. Thankfully, her magical chains did the trick and managed to put him in a temporary timeout. She admits it is pretty brave and maybe a bit cheeky for a half-demon to try and eat his teacher. Tied up in knots, Seo Choi just glares back with a look that says he is still hungry. She decides it is time for a lesson in manners as the chains start to tighten up. But then he starts flexing those muscles like he is at the gym on a Monday. The chains actually start cracking. She is totally shocked since she used the power of a whole tail. With a massive grunt, he snaps those magical chains like they are made of thin paper. The tension in the air is now totally electric. Once free, he lunges forward and delivers a heavy-duty punch right into the dirt next to her. Seo Choi tells her he got the message, then asks if she really thought he was just a simple goblin. She gives him a polite nod. Getting ready for the next round, as she falls back, she summons the Great Demon Emperor for some help. She refers to this as the official opening act of her big summoning trick. From high in the sky, a gigantic fist comes zooming down with full force right at Seo Choi. Bracing for the impact, our brave hero stands his ground and waits for the massive blow. He keeps his eyes locked on the target, not blinking for even a single second. Then the power hits him directly, kicking up a huge cloud of dust and flying debris. He crosses his arms to shield himself from the spicy energy blast coming his way. And even that poor trapped monster gets caught in the massive splash zone. But wait, there is more. A second, even bigger energy explosion pops off right after. Once the smoke finally settles, she wonders if she accidentally went too far with the training. Looking at his shadow, she chirps that he basically begged for a beatdown. Seo Choi stays upright while she admits she didn't have high hopes for him. Even so, Seo Hwa definitely didn't mess up her calculations this time around. Actually, Seo Choi just unlocked a secret magic that's super rare to master. It's a legendary skill that even the buffest goblins can't usually get their hands on. Rare or not, that massive energy starts glowing right in the palm of his hand. With a firm grip, he snaps the very item that defines his entire race. Suddenly, those broken pieces morph into a giant heavy-duty battle club. She spins around, noting that this half-breed is actually packing some serious heat. Now he's swinging a dark magic club, the ultimate hidden goblin treasure. Seo Hwa was an elite demon with skills that were totally unmatched. A true one. In a 1,000-year genius, she earned all 9 tails fast. Thanks to her sharp instincts, she feels the danger creeping up on her. Right there, Seo Choi grips a cursed weapon lost for hundreds of years. She bragged that her demonic energy was way too high for him to beat. However, the vibes he was giving off were unlike anything she'd ever felt. Stepping up, Seo Choi gets ready to strike. Watching him move, her eyes go wide. He charges ahead with incredible speed. Giving it his all, he slams his weapon down, triggering a massive explosion. Chunks of debris fly everywhere as the floor gets totally wrecked by the blast. Shrugging it off, she says she's fine and gets back into her stance. Suddenly, a massive hand pops out and snatches the weapon. She says she finally gets it now. Seo Choi is shocked to see his club totally stuck in that giant grip. Seo Hwa folds her arms, teasing that it's finally her turn to play. The big hand crushes the club, fighting to steal his weapon away. He gets tossed high up as the giant hand swings him around. That huge fist keeps going, hoisting the poor guy way up into the sky. Next thing he knows, he's being launched like a rocket through the air. Grinning, she claims that hit landed perfectly right on the mark. But an energy cord pulls him back, slamming him hard onto the dirt. Looking at the fist, she figures that little smack probably won't be enough to finish him. She realizes she'll need a few more hits before he finally stays down. The massive hand readjusts its grip, getting ready for another big swing. The hand spins, whipping up a crazy shockwave with that heavy club. All of a sudden, her eyes pop open in total disbelief. Through the smoke, he appears again, looking totally unfazed. He stands his ground, gripping the club tightly. Is he as strong as the Emperor? Still, that giant hand keeps crushing the weapon with every bit of strength. He twists around, swinging that club in a massive spinning arc to stop him. The giant hand reaches out. Luckily, the club can morph whenever he wants. This very skill is why the goblins were so successful back in the day. Locking his eyes on the target, he readies his next big move. Meet Metamorph. This legendary tool morphs instantly. As a massive club, he smashes the giant's fist. Witnessing this sudden evolution, she realizes these unpredictable strikes are a real headache to block. Beyond raw power, his refined energy control is actually quite impressive. She knows any half-hearted defense would just invite a brutal counterstrike. Tightening its massive grip, the beast winds up for a total knockout. With eyes full of focus, Seo Hwa decides she must play rough now. 2 colossal hands burst forth, raining blows on Seo Choi from every angle. He manages to snag one of those massive arms to stabilize himself, but the relentless barrage continues pummeling him with bone-shaking force. Honestly, she is surprised he is still standing. No rookie could survive this. It finally makes sense why goblins once ruled the demon realm ages ago. However, she decides he has had enough training for one day. Watching closely, she sees his energy reserves are hitting rock bottom. At this rate, Seo Hwa fears his own stubbornness might actually break him. With a heavy sigh, she admits he is forcing her hand now. As he lunges forward, she knows she must stop him before he snaps. Seo Choi isn't quitting, swinging back hard against that giant limb. Gathering her strength, she prepares to unleash 3 tails of power. Actually, let us make it 5. He should feel honored to see this. Seo Choi counters with an energy blade. She smiles, noting he pushed her this far. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The mighty demon emperor manifests, gripping his weapon for the final showdown. Seo Choi dives sideways, narrowly avoiding a crushing overhead strike. The emperor isn't done spinning his weapon with world-ending momentum. The blade shatters the earth, sending a devastating wave of destruction right at him. Taking the full force of the blast, Seo Choi is sent flying like a broken doll across the field. The emperor stands perfectly still. The impact left a massive rift between them. Gasping for air, he realizes he is completely tapped out. He hears her say his body is quitting. Looking down, she reminds him this happens when you pick a fight with her. She mutters that Mung Tai is totally going to chew her out for this, but just as she starts to walk away, something very weird happens. Still on the ground, Seo Choi starts sobbing for his mommy, taking in the pathetic sight. Seo Hwa just stares at him with a look of pure, unadulterated judgment. She reaches out, clearly annoyed that she has to deal with this crying baby. Suddenly, Seo Choi's body lifts, hovering slowly into the air. Floating helplessly, he watches her perform some strange hand gestures. She steps close, cups his face, and plants a kiss to transfer energy directly. Breaking the lip lock, she turns and spits on the dirt like she just tasted something rotten. The shock knocks him out cold. She sighs as the battle finally ends. He tapped into the Fox Gem and Five-Tail energy. She stared him down, demanding payment, or else he was finished. Next thing he knows, he wakes up in an unfamiliar room. He bolts upright, shocked to find himself tucked into a bed. Looking around, he tries to piece together how he ended up there. Suddenly, the door swings open to reveal the outside world. Seo Hwa walks in, balancing a steaming cup on a wooden tray. She locks eyes with him, wearing an incredibly stern expression. He meets her gaze with an awkward, sheepish little grin. Staring at the bowl, Seo Choi hesitates, unsure of what to say. He hangs his head, admitting that his memory has fully returned. He explains he was awake, but had no control over himself. He bows deeply, apologizing for dragging her into such a mess. She ignores his apology and tells him to drink up instead. Taken aback by her bluntness, he asks what she means. Pointing at the cup, she insists he finish before it cools. He takes the bowl, wondering if it is some secret medicine. Steeling himself, he finally takes a sip of the dark brew. He grimaces as she warns him not to spit it out. He asks what is in it, but even she is not sure. He chokes it down while she tells him to listen closely. Seo Hwa explains he lost something vital during that intense battle. That big-mouthed monster he fought actually managed to escape. However, she warns that he is still technically its master. The beast will hide, but he basically just skipped a meal. Looking worried, he asks if there is any other way forward. She gives a playful smile, reminding him he is no longer human. He jokes that eating people sounds like a total horror flick, but he knows these monsters must be stopped before they strike. With total resolve, he will do whatever it takes to protect everyone. He clarifies that he was only checking for a better option. She reiterates that eating demons is the fastest way to level. Yet the law of duels keeps the strong from easy snacks. Seo Hwa warns him that easy targets are now a thing of the past. Rumors about his power have surely reached every corner of the realm. Now the weak will scurry away rather than face him. Only the truly terrifying high-level demons will come for him now. She notes that he is currently way too weak to handle them. Standing up, she decides that something is still better than nothing. She calls out, telling the boy she has a special surprise. She leads him to a courtyard outside the massive estate. Taking it in, he wonders if this was her intended gift. A chained monster rages nearby as she asks if it is cool. He asks if it is a demon. She says yes. The beast snarls, but she claims it has lost all its rights. Grinning, she notes how some demons just snap and lose their cool. The poor souls end up crossing a line they can't ever uncross. Now they're basically wild beasts with zero rights. From above, she wonders what he's waiting for. That creature's just an animal now, she mocks as it slams the dirt. The cobalt beast hammers the floor with a massive smash, going straight for our hero. But Seo Choi's got moves slipping away at the very last moment. Catching his breath, he shakes off the jitters and gets ready. Relaxing, she admits she expected him to freeze, but he's actually pretty quick. Turns out that guy was a big deal until greed took over. His energy went wild and he turned into, well, that mess. The cobalt lunges, claws out and ready to shred, diving back. He manages to avoid the swipe and gets some breathing room. Locked in, Seo Choi tracks every twitch of his enemy. The monster goes in again, teeth bared and ready to bite. Seo Hwa watches closely, noticing it hasn't even used its club. He was a powerhouse, but not the type to get caught easily. Her plan push him until those survival instincts finally kick in. He drops into a stance ready to take the beast head on. Seo Hwa's confused, what's he doing? Then he balls his fists. He's getting ready to settle this with his bare hands. He charges forward, letting out a rapid-fire storm of hits. Suddenly, we're at a local boxing gym. In a memory, his coach is hyped about his insane reflexes. He even asks if Seo Choi's thought about going pro. Maybe after I drop some pounds, he jokes. The coach is all in. He was convinced boxing was his ticket to losing weight. Back to reality, he's dodging like a pro because he's not just here for a brawl. Every hit is fueled by something way more relatable than glory. He just really wanted to lose some weight. He was desperate for results. Even if the scale didn't move, he never quit. That grit is exactly why he's still standing, landing a massive kick. Believe it or not, he's tried 16 different sports. 7 of those were hardcore martial arts styles. He didn't train for years or anything. And honestly, he didn't lose much fat, but his special Goblin trait changed everything. That natural talent mixed with pure stubbornness made him a master of all 7 styles. With a final heavy strike, he clocks the beast right in the jaw. Seolwa's jaw drops. She can't believe what she's seeing. The Cobalt finally hits the deck, totally wrecked by our guy. Gasping for air, the fight is finally over. He looks at the monster and wonders aloud. How do I even eat this? Seo Choi stands there huffing and puffing over his fallen foe. On the roof, she's stunned. Was that actually human martial arts? She realizes normal human moves aren't usually meant for demon-level strength. He's getting the hang of his demon body fast, even using it in battle. She hints that he actually has potential curious about his next big move. I won right. Seo Choi asks, wait, did you mean eating literally? She giggles. Of course not, teasing him for taking the question so seriously. She warns the battle isn't over yet, leaving our hero totally puzzled. Suddenly, the Cobalt lunges, sinking its teeth deep into his shoulder. Trapped by those jaws, he desperately tries to shake the monster off. Dark blood sprays everywhere, soaking the floor and his clothes. The beast retreats as his arm shakes in agony. It swallows a mouthful, grinning like a nightmare. Grabbing his wounded arm, Seo Choi screams, writhing in pain. He's totally frozen after that brutal sneak attack. Then boom, the Cobalt lands a heavy blow, sending him tumbling back. Seolhwa watches closely, wondering why he didn't see that hit coming. Grounded and stunned, the weight of the injury finally sinks in. It wasn't just pain he feared, it was that primal human dread of losing everything. Shaken by raw terror, his body starts to shiver uncontrollably. Sensing his panic, the Cobalt roars, readying itself for the kill. Wait, he notices the bite on his shoulder is magically closing. The beast strikes again with lightning-fast claws. Seo Choi narrowly dodges, barely escaping the lethal swipe. Sharp claws slash across his chest, leaving behind deep, bloody gashes. He looks down, watching in shock as the cuts knit back together instantly. Confused that its prey won't stay down, the monster lunges once more. Realizing he's much tougher now, Seo Choi steps up with newfound confidence. Music. This shifts everything. He finally realizes a wound is nothing unless it's a killing blow. Embracing the chaos, he shatters his limits and unleashes his true strength. Witnessing this massive energy surge, the Cobalt is stunned. He lands a massive punch, joking that his arm nearly flew off. Staring at the downed beast, he's shocked at how much power he actually packed. Even if the monster can heal, he declares the battle finished. Seolhwa cheers for that epic hit. That Cobalt definitely isn't getting back up. She asks how it feels to use that power without losing his mind. Did I really do that? He asks. She explains there are many ways to channel it. She points out he used energy to supercharge his shoulder's recovery. That final strike, a perfect mix of raw power and pure technique. It just felt like a spark, he admits. At that mention, music, she confirms it's demonic energy, though he's still a total newbie. This whole fight was just a test to draw his power out. Looking at the monster, she admits he's fast. She thought this would take 10 days. He scratches his head shyly while she calls him a natural talent. She walks toward the beast, announcing it's time for the finishing touch. Locking eyes with him, she asks if he's ever actually killed anything before. Getting nervous, he admits he's never had to go that far. She warns that it's better for everyone to just end this now. She tells him to strike the vital spot right above the navel. Noticing his nerves, she teasingly reminds him that the first kill is always a doozy. Stepping forward, our hero readies himself to drop the hammer on that beast. Facing the Cobalt, he knows its soul is the key. He charges his fists with pure energy. Music. He's about to cross a line most wouldn't dare touch. Suddenly, memories of simpler days hanging with his buddies flash through his mind. He sees his old self standing beside his mom back before everything changed. The vision snaps back to reality. Seo deals the final crushing blow. She tells him to check his palm. Lo and behold, a shiny energy crystal manifests right there. Gripping the glowing loot, he gulps it down like a champ. He braces for a massive power surge. He stares at his hands and wonders, music. That snack was tasteless and did nothing. Just then, a tiny crow hitches a ride on him. Whoa, what's this? He yells, totally losing his cool. He tries shooing the bird, but it just takes a quick victory lap in the air. In a puff of magic, the bird transforms into a mysterious girl right before them. Seolhwa is not amused. The girl just grins, claiming she's just hanging with friends. Music. Actually, she's got some super serious business to discuss with our main man. Meet Solmi. She immediately asks if he's the famous half-goblin everyone's whispering about. Seo Choi gives a polite bow while Seolhwa keeps a very jealous eye on them. Solmi reveals she's actually working a supernatural side hustle for Mang Tai. She's the delivery girl here to drop off the reward for that cobalt hunt. Seolhwa insists Seo Choi takes the whole pot since he did the heavy lifting. Solmi nods, admitting his combat skills were actually pretty top tier to watch. She suggests he's a real threat, but Seolhwa just scoffs at the idea. Solmi isn't buying that attitude one bit. She turns back to Seo Choi with a grin. She presents him with the quest rewards and a few spicy life choices. Does he want a normal life, or will he walk the path of a powerful demon? Dawn breaks over the school grounds. As Seo heads to class, his buddy rings him up. Seo claims he's totally fine, but his friend isn't buying the act for a second. He asks for a favor so weird it makes his buddy do a double take. Just say it, man. His friend urges curious about the secrecy. He's his only hope. But the request leaves his best friend completely floored and speechless. Wait, what are you saying? Where on earth are you right now? Seo asks him to lie to his mom and say he's at a study center. It's a long shot, but he begs his pal to back up his story. With a heavy sigh, his friend agrees to play along despite the confusion. He promises to help, provided Seo spills the tea later on. But Solmi is right there giving him the zip it sign with her eyes. She mimes locking her lips. If he leaks their secret, she's in huge trouble. His buddy relents, telling him to call if he gets into any real deep water. With a click, Seo Choi ends the call with his confused classmate. The friend stares at his phone, heart racing with worry for his pal. Seo lets out a breath of relief while Solmi just sits there amused by him. So, after all that craziness, I can finally just go home now. Solmi nods along. Yep, totally honest, no lies here, pinky swear. Seolhwa chimed in, offering him a quick ride back home. She gives him a serious look, waiting for his big decision. No thanks, he says. I'm staying to crush this test. He knows skipping his training now would only cause trouble later. That last fight proved he's got to start leveling up ASAP. Clenching his fist, he vows to gain enough power to survive. And just like that, his demon training arc officially begins. Honestly, it's just the right thing to do. Solmi's impressed. That's the spirit, she says with a thumbs up. Seolhwa groans. Stop teasing him with choices that don't even exist. Turns out Solmi just loves testing people's character. Classic Solmi move. Bet you didn't even read my book, Solmi teases her friend. Seolhwa snorts. Please, your theories were way too out there. Hey, I wrote that. Anyway, I need to borrow our hero. He just points to himself, looking completely and utterly lost. Wait me, why do you need me right now? Exactly. Solmi grins as massive crow wings sprout from her back. She transforms into a majestic magpie demon. So cool, right? She can travel between worlds and take one passenger along. Seolhwa warns it's a bumpy ride, but he'll be fine. Catch you later, the bird chirps before soaring into the sky. He hands the phone back. Thanks for letting me borrow this. Relaxing in her chair, she asks if he misses his family. It's just me and Mom, and she's always traveling for work. She offers to whip up dinner. Hungry for a home-cooked meal. He stands up, eager. Actually, I'm down to try something new. So what exactly is this thing you want from me? Next thing you know, the kitchen is smelling absolutely amazing. He goes all out, turning random ingredients into a total feast. She's stoked. I've always wanted to try real human comfort food. Then the bombshell. By the way, I'm enrolling at your school. He almost chokes on his food. Talk about a surprise. She quietly mentions she doesn't really have any friends to visit. Best meal ever. She snaps her fingers. Time for the reward. Magic swirls through the air as his prize starts to float. It's a storage scroll, every trainee's dream item, for sure. She opens it up, showing off the cool digital-style screen. She digs through the scroll and pulls out a starter box. Here you go. And trust me, there's more than one use. Inside shiny coins, mysterious scrolls, and a very fancy pouch. That's demon cash, she explains. Don't spend it all at once. 40 coins might not sound like much, but it's a fortune. And this pouch, it's a genuine high-grade demonic treasure. It's just like those magic bags from stories. How cool is that? Turns out Mung Tae personally gave him that gift, proving he has massive expectations. Is this for the new King's Festival? She beams, saying how proud Korea would be of a homegrown king. She mentions a Korean legend who almost won it all years ago. That champion was a goblin the strongest in all of Korean history. Holding the pouch, he still can't believe he's actually a goblin. He looks at it half convinced this is all just a wild dream. If so, he's not waking up until he reaches the very top. She smiles, teasing him about how much he cares for humans. Why not become the next Demon King and protect them yourself? His jaw drops 6,666 years of civil service. She chuckles, telling him to ask whatever is on his mind. He points to a mysterious scroll tucked away in the corner. She looks over and gasps. The scroll is pulsing with danger. It's an emergency summons. Something is going wrong in the human world. A rogue demon is breaking the laws and attacking innocent people. This is huge. Nothing like this has happened in decades. Her smile vanishes instantly as she realizes something terrifying. She screams as she looks out the window. The signal is nearby. They both stare at the scroll, paralyzed by the sudden chaos. Night falls and the city lights sparkle under a full moon. With a sharp snap of his fingers, he summons a strange relic. An ancient scroll appears instantly, leaving him totally stunned. He reaches out his hand, hovering over the mysterious object. He wonders about its power, deciding to ask for help later. Suddenly, his eyes lock onto something across the quiet room. He checks the clock. It's already 10 minutes to 10. Meanwhile, Sol-mi knows they need to be back by 10 sharp. He remembers their friendly chat from just a little while ago. He had promised her he'd be back in a flash. She'd smiled, insisting they were friends and to just use her name. Now he's alone in the apartment and the clock strikes 10. Anxiety kicks in. Could something have happened to her out there? He kicks himself for not getting her phone number earlier today. He looks at the bookshelf, staring at an old photo of his dad. If he's got goblin blood, it definitely came from his father's side. Mengto says his goblin lineage is roughly 5 generations old. Looking at the photo, Seo Choi wonders, did his father know? Suddenly, a strange movement catches his eye from the shadows. He instantly drops into a fighting stance, ready for a scrap. He rushes to the balcony, calling out for Sol-mi in panic. Down in a dark alley, someone is running for their life. A shadowy figure lunges out, grabbing a young man by the neck. The shadows peel away to reveal a truly monstrous nightmare. The beast opens its maw and lets out a terrifying, echoing roar. Zap! A brilliant beam of energy tore through the shadows of the dark alley. Somewhere nearby, a tired Sol-mi sighed, wondering if this night would ever end. She grumbled that if this kept up, she wouldn't have a single feather left on her wings. The shadow creature turned to its hostage and hissed, asking why he was still waiting around. Sol-mi stepped up and yelled that it was useless since the beast couldn't even feel pain anyway. And just like that, the two of them dove straight into a fierce showdown. Down on the pavement, the messy shadow monster started crumbling into a million pieces. Sitting on the ground, the rescued guy was shaking like a leaf as he watched the chaos unfold. While helping the injured man, Sol-mi kindly promised that his buddy would be just fine soon. Hearing the good news, the young man started sobbing from total relief and lingering fear. But wait, high above on a building, that creepy shadow reappeared to watch them all. Feeling the sudden chill, Sol-mi spun around to face the monster in a heartbeat. With a massive leap, the creature zoomed up the building's wall with incredible speed. Seconds later, it slammed onto the ground, giving Sol-mi and the guy a huge heart attack. Walking over, he joked that her entire clan would be totally embarrassed by this messy situation. Sol-mi just pouted, saying she didn't care because she knew he'd show up to save her. He walked toward her, calling her way too optimistic for thinking like that. Then he said, honestly, having a sister like her is more trouble than it's worth. He glanced at the hostage and called it bad luck, telling him to nap until the ambulance arrived. Sol-mi was shocked and asked if he'd actually used hypnosis on the poor guy. He just waved it off, admitting he'd basically flunked that part of his training. Checking the area, he warned her that 2 more nasty demons were still lurking nearby. He mentioned that, counting this last one, he had already bagged 24 of them in total. Then he revealed they were just kobolds, total weaklings, being controlled by someone much stronger. Worried, Sol-mi reported that 7 people had died, and 50 others were seriously hurt. He wondered what the point of all this was, but quickly realized the dark truth. He explained that it wasn't for fun. It was all about gaining a strategic advantage. Starting to spill the beans, he said demons hunt humans for a much darker reason. He explained that consuming human blood and flesh is actually the ultimate power-up for any demon. Talk about a total shocker. Sol-mi gasped, saying it was the very first time she'd ever heard something so terrifying. Realizing that demons level up this way, she was completely chilled by the revelation. In a memory, Mengte mentioned that very few young demons actually try hard during their tests. He explained that the new generation thinks the human world is just a boring place to hang out. But with the big festival coming up, many demons are suddenly willing to risk it all. He told her that since she's assisting Mengte, she really needs to know these recent facts. Looking away, he said he understood the goal but hated the messy method they used. He then commented that he would have been way more low-key without attracting any attention. She called him a chicken, but he argued that flying solo is just the safer way to play. Feeling salty, Sol-mi yelled for him to go say that directly to the bad guys' faces. Suddenly, a light bulb went off in her head, and her whole expression changed instantly. Saying she had to bolt, she vanished into thin air, leaving only a few feathers behind. Back at the apartment, a very confused Seo Choi leaned against his balcony railing. He thought the open door was super weird since he didn't remember leaving it that way. Without him even noticing, a dark, shadowy figure slipped into the room right behind him. This uninvited guest creeps forward, trying to be as quiet as a mouse. The monster thinks this is way too easy, like playing on beginner mode. Our spooky friend gets his hand ready to surprise Seo Choi from behind. But wait, just before the hit lands, Seo Choi's amazing senses kick in. Right at the perfect moment, he hops aside and dodges like a pro. Seo Choi catches the enemy's hand, totally ruining the big surprise attack. He stomps his foot so hard the entire floor turns into puzzle pieces. Oops, the intruder realizes Seo Choi knew his every move from the start. With a stylish move, he sends that creature spinning through the air. Phew, he catches his breath, saying that dodge was a bit too close. Turns out that's just a standard goblin move, not a fancy special skill. He stays sharp because we all know goblins don't fall for tricks twice. After that little scuffle, the balcony railing is looking pretty twisted and broken. He lets out a soft sigh, feeling much better now that it's over. Even while looking away, he's still on high alert for any funny business. He remembers that same spooky chill from a bite he got way back. Music? He knows he would have been caught if he hadn't recognized that weird feeling. Looking down, he hopes no neighbors were bothered by all that loud crashing. A massive crater in the asphalt shows just how much power he used. Suddenly, he's grabbed from behind before he can even say, "Pardon me." The enemy says he put the humans to sleep. How very thoughtful of him. Apparently, having a neighborhood panic would just make their playdate too difficult. The being remarks that for a goblin, his demon energy is actually top tier. With a jolly hop, the intruder takes him right off the balcony edge. He gives his tail a spin, tossing Seo Choi high into the sky. He struggles to get free, but the demon just smiles and hurls him. Ouch, he crashes into the pavement, making a brand new parking spot. While lying there, he hears the demon apologize for the rough landing. Landing nearby, the demon jokes that the ground was already pretty weak. He figures the humans will just think it was some unlucky construction accident. As he stands up, the demon suggests he should have retired already. With a grin, a giant serpent spirit appears to show off its strength. He politely offers a peaceful end, asking if he can devour him. Music. Seeing the shock, he claims he's just doing Seo Choi a big favor. He explains they're on different levels and fighting just leads to more boo-boos. He keeps the deal going, saying if Seo Choi just says yes now, he promises to skip eating mom, showing a lovely photo of the pair. Without a word, Seo Choi charges forward with a fist, ready for lessons. Music. He lands a massive punch right on that demon's nose with everything. He grabs the demon's collar firmly, and he isn't letting go for anything. The demon apologizes for the threat, admitting it was a very tacky move. He claims he didn't want to, but he needed a little spark. Music. Looking the monster in the eye, our hero stands his ground bravely. Seo Choi jokes that the power of that venom actually feels quite nice. Our demon friend gets personal, explaining that physical contact is his secret ingredient. Talk about awkward. Sadly, his flashy powers don't work on high-level bosses. Poor Seo Choi realizes he's stuck in place like a frozen statue. The demon drops a classic villain line, "Only the strongest survive this game." He points out that arm accessory is basically a legendary item if used right. Just then, a precious family photo slips out. Talk about bad timing. A massive snake joins the party. No pressure or anything, Seo Choi? Our hero fights through the paralysis, needing just one lucky shot. The serpent goes for the kill, ready for a midnight snack. Seo Choi locks in, focusing every bit of remaining mana he's got. He squeezes his fist tightly, going for a full power-up moment. Even the giant snake feels the sudden shift in energy levels. Boom! He releases a blast that would make any level up proud. Our guy's totally wiped out, gasping like he ran a marathon. The attack was so wild, it literally gave the parking garage a skylight. The serpent is actually impressed. That was a close shave for the big guy. Without skipping a beat, the snake strikes back, showing no mercy. Seo Choi gets sent flying straight into the concrete wall. Ouch! The demon is shocked he's still moving while dealing with deadly poison. The creature waits, flicking its tongue. But wait, what's that noise? Suddenly, a mysterious sword handle is sticking out of its back. The snake is totally confused. Who invited the new guy? Surprise, it's the shocking power of the supreme god of the ninth heaven. A magical feather artifact starts glowing from within the wound. As energy explodes, a voice reminds Seo Choi his story isn't over just yet. A cool masked hero arrives, calling the bad guys absolute trash. The demon isn't amused, telling the newcomer to drop the dramatic act. He smirks, wondering how they tracked him down so fast. Skill issue. The masked man draws his blade. This definitely isn't your average shaman. Realizing time is up, the demon knows he needs to make an exit. This Pegaboy is proving to be quite a handful. If the other hero shows up, it's officially game over. Clinging to his pride and his injury, the demon senses the mood shifting fast. Out of nowhere, he coughs up a ritual-sized pool of blood. Gross. He summons a nightmare monster he was totally saving for a special occasion. This massive beast steps forward looking ready to cause some chaos. Apparently, this thing is a legendary spirit monster from the west. The demon tells them to play nice while he slips away. He tries to grab Seo Choi for a to-go meal. Not so fast, buddy. The beast lunges, aiming to take a bite out of our hero. But our masked man is fast like max agility stats fast. He effortlessly vaults over the beast, leaving the demon completely stunned. In a flash, he's right behind the villain. Teleportation maybe. He delivers a clean strike right through the demon. Seo Choi watches the bad guy drop, absolutely mind-blown by the pro-level moves. The man leans in close, giving him a friendly warning to talk or else. Seo Choi just blinks, wondering what he's doing in this creepy parking lot. The masked man freezes. He knows that voice. Seo Choi realizes he recognizes it too. Reaching up to his face, he pulls off the mask, revealing his good buddy Yusin. Yusin's baffled to see him. Seo just sighs. Man, it's a long story. Strolling through the lot, Yusin checks out the spot where that demon just totally face-planted. He rushes over to Seo, sounding genuinely worried for his friend. Panicking, he grabs him and asks about his injuries and the monster. Seo wheezes for air. Yusin realizes it's an ability and says, "Don't talk." Seeing the poison fade, Yusin tells Seo to just stay put for a second. Like magic, the nasty wounds and poison marks just vanish, completely gone. Yusin is shocked. Seo's got some seriously impressive self-healing skills. Then he spots something shifty moving in the back of the lot. That defeated demon shadow is trying to crawl away to safety. It leaves a messy trail of blood before vanishing into the night. The two buddies just stand there watching the enemy slip away. Yusin grumbles about the escape, then asks Seo if he's feeling alright. Totally exhausted, Seo jokes, "How do you think I'm feeling, man?" Seo chuckles, teasing his half-goblin friend for letting the bad guy go. Yusin sighs, feeling like a total rookie shaman for missing the signs. Seo nods. He finally gets the big secret about the training center. Music. Yusin admits it, saying Seo would have called him crazy otherwise. He warns that this whole wild situation wraps up in 6 months. Since Yusin knows the festival, Seo asks why humans are being targeted. Yusin notes that this is actually super rare for their kind. Usually demons leave humans alone, but things are changing. Seo's confused. What's with the sudden shift in demon behavior? Yusin gets serious. Demons are hunting people to claim the throne. For a month now, disappearances have been spiking in busy areas. This is the very first time a demon has appeared like this. Music. Suddenly Yusin grabs him. Seo is totally baffled by his reaction. Boom. A huge explosion erupts, cutting their conversation short. Caught off guard, Yusin screams out for Seo with total concern. Solmi rushes onto the scene, apologizing and checking if they're okay. Sword in hand, Yusin orders her to freeze right where she is. Solmi flinches, scared out of her wits by his cold command. He warns her one more step, and she's monster-flavored toast. Seo tries to help, but Yusin snaps, "She's a demon! Seo!" He knows she follows the rules, that's why he's only giving a warning, but he cuts him off, saying this is Seo's responsibility now. He asks Seo if he truly understands the weight of his qualification. Yusin explains these creatures are just monsters snacking on humans to level up. Gripping his blade, he reminds him that Seo is human and calls his own shots. Totally fed up, he vows he'll never let them drag him away. Solmi finally gets it to Seo, this whole situation is just one massive, unfair disaster. She remembers his name is already blacklisted. Breaking the rules now would be a total catastrophe. She knows she has to step in before things spiral out of control for everyone. Still, the thought of facing such a high-level shaman solo is pretty intimidating. Locking in music, she apologizes, but as his guardian, she has to take him in, leveling his sword. Yusin notes she's ignoring his advice, but before he can strike, Seo Choi slaps him. That smack sends Yusin sailing, leaving him completely floored and totally caught off guard. Without missing a beat, he lunges forward to grab the dropped weapon. He snatches the blade before Yusin can even scramble back to his feet. Checking out the steel, he notes it's a weird sword covered in strange runes. Getting back up, Yusin demands to know why he suddenly started swinging. Seo nods, agreeing that demons usually kill others just to boost their own stats. Then he drops a bombshell. He actually ate a demon today, shocking his friend. He explains it was all for self-defense, then boldly declares he's not stopping. Music. He is going to keep devouring demons to reach the next level. Panicked Yusin insists there is a better way, claiming he can protect everyone by himself, cutting him off. Seo slams the sword into the dirt, promising one more crazy plot twist. With a grin, he confidently announces that he is going to be the next Demon King. Yusin just stands there buffering while Solmi looks like her brain just short-circuited. Music. Yusin asks if he's lost his mind, but Seo admits he is mostly winging it. Clenching his fist, he says this is his shot at stopping his worst fears. Noticing the stress, Siwoo tells his buddy not to be so worked up. He explains this is his new reality, and he would rather act than wait around. So with zero doubts, he makes it clear he is sticking to this wild plan. At a loss, Yusin just grinds his teeth, wrestling with the whole idea. Saying it is fine, he hands the sword back over to his friend Siwoo. But he warns that if Siwoo crosses the line, he will personally take him down. Siwoo agrees he would deserve it, then watches Yusin reclaim his mask from the floor. Turning back, he asks her name, she is Solmi, then puts on his mask apologizing for the demon drama. He warns that even in this mess there are laws demons have to follow. Then, invoking the chief shaman, he vows to take down everyone involved in this, saying they will catch up later. He tells Siwoo not to worry about his mom before making a dramatic exit. Shaking with fear, she asks if every shaman is that terrifyingly intense. He laughs, suggesting Yusin is definitely just a very special high-level case. Suddenly, she whips around and asks Go-Yu if he has been tailing her. He admits he had to since her charge and first plan was totally reckless. He gives a friendly warning, a mystic-level demon would have turned her into a snack. Siwoo gives a polite bow, and Go-Yu recognizes the famous half-goblin before explaining bestial demons. These guys basically take the form of wild animals. They mostly follow primal instincts resembling their ancient ancestors, but wait. He notes that elite demons prefer more stylish mythical disguises. Plus, some rare beings actually surpass their own divine origins. Long ago, humans and demons alike worshipped these powerhouse entities. With a cheerful grin, he formally introduces himself to Siwoo as Go-Yu. Then comes the twist. He's actually one of the opponents Siwoo must defeat. Go-Yu offers a polite greeting, thrilled to finally meet our hero. A bit puzzled by the vibe, Siwoo reaches out for a polite handshake. Suddenly, Solmi screams, "Don't you dare touch that demon's hand!" Siwoo stops and looks back at his friend, totally caught off guard. She demands to know his intentions, but Go-Yu just smiles it off. He snatches Siwoo's hand anyway, finding her outburst pretty entertaining. Flexing his magic, he decides to test a move he borrowed earlier. A spatial portal snaps open, swallowing them both in an instant. Solmi dives to save him, but the portal vanishes. Talk about a relocation. Just like that, they're standing by a peaceful lakeside. Siwoo wobbles a bit, but Go-Yu is impressed he's still standing. Apparently, most demons would have face-planted after a jump like that. Staying upright is actually a pretty big flex. Siwoo casually asks if he's on the menu. Go-Yu says yes, but first a quick question. He wants to know if Siwoo is a gamer. Specifically video games, SEO admits he retired back in high school. He's more of an action RPG fan himself. He's not into online gaming though. Go-Yu finds that hilarious. Suddenly a massive blast rocks the spot where he just stood. He narrowly dodges, sliding across the dirt to safety. Close call. Gigantic ice crystals start erupting from the center of the lake. Spotting the new danger, Siwoo shifts into high gear. He books it toward the trees to find some cover. More ice spikes launch from the water, homing in on him. They slam into the ground, causing massive chilly explosions. Go-Yu watches from afar, clearly enjoying the show. He's busy analyzing every move Siwoo makes. He notes how fast Siwoo is. He actually predicted the attack. Siwoo knows he can't just run forever. Time to fight back. Go-Yu is genuinely impressed by our rookie's skills. Siwoo's secret weapon. His insane ability to level up mid-fight. After being tricked before, he's now extra careful about traps. His gaze sharpens. He's ready for the next round. Remembering his training from earlier, he charges straight ahead. He fires off a massive energy blast with everything he's got. That's the power of the Destroyer's armor. Pure demonic energy. Boom. A massive cloud of smoke completely blankets the battlefield. Apartment brawls taught him well, never stop focused until the dust settles. Suddenly, through the haze, glowing energy spheres zoom forward. Hey, he's finally mastering his powers. Ooh, it feels like a lightning bolt just sparked in his gut. 60% energy remaining. That big hit cost 10 small ones 3. Will hitting 0 leave him totally drained again? Man, he hopes not. Music. As the dust settles, Go-Yu stands there looking totally unfazed. He admits he underestimated Siwoo. That first phase was a total breeze. Guarding himself, Siwoo asks, "Are you actually trying to eat me right now? Your killer vibe from earlier is totally gone." Show notes very politely. "Caught me. I'm a terrible actor. I don't actually want to eat you." Then Go-Yu asks, "Do you even know what a real Demon King is?" He explains it's weird to pick a ruler based on a brawling contest. But hey, rules are rules. This tradition is essential for all demons. To stop chaotic desires from causing total mayhem, ancestors created the Demon King. It's the ultimate safety net to keep demons from wiping each other out. The king rules to keep everyone safe and sound. Pretty noble, right? Music. 10,000 years of peace. But wait, the current king is a different story. Imagine if a human ruler suddenly banned everyone from eating delicious cheeseburgers. Siwoo thinks no one would listen, but Go-Yu says they actually obeyed. He shrugs. That's just the incredible power of tradition and the king. He locks eyes with Siwoo. The demons are reaching their breaking point, friend. Siwoo gets it. If the next king plays favorites, there will be trouble. Smart guy. Go you cheers. This time total obedience is off the table. Music. Even the strongest king can't stop an entire nation from revolting. Once that happens, the legendary authority of the demon king will crumble. He paces around hoping Siwoo catches his drift. It's serious business. Careful now, those grumpy old demons might attack just for saying this. Thinking of Dion, he smiles. He sees where Siwoo's hope comes from. Music. Siwoo asks him politely, so do you want me to take that back? Grinning. Go Yu admits, actually I was totally going to crush you earlier. Join me, he offers. Siwoo wonders, how strong are you really, future king? Answering, I'm not the absolute strongest, but I'm better than the other candidates. Siwoo listens, nods politely, and takes a confident step forward. Music. He extends his hand. Deal. Just promise you'll protect my people, okay? Music. I knew we'd be besties. Go Yu beams, giving a firm handshake. Then Siwoo warns him, good choice. My conscience is perfectly clear now. Gripping tightly, he starts blasting his demonic energy straight at his new rival. Go Yu laughs. Wait, you're the one talking total nonsense this time. You used a handshake as a sneak attack. Very rude. He jokes. Music. Siwoo grabs hold, unleashing a massive power surge that nearly drained him dry. This wasn't just instinct anymore. He moved with pure, focused intent. Channeling his unique skill, he spins like a cyclone to launch Go Yu. With zero hesitation, he strikes with total focus. The impact triggers a massive, watery explosion, masking the scene in mist. A massive shockwave of pure energy ripples across the entire battlefield. Slumped on the dirt, Siwoo Choi gasps for air, his stamina completely depleted. He mutters to himself, wondering why his limbs won't stop trembling. Totally drained, music, he realizes he's hit zero mana and can't recover. Suddenly, Go Yu looms over him with a piercing gaze. Grinning, go. Yu praises his talent for burning through every last drop of power. Music. He adds that only his superior base stats kept him from defeat. He asks for final words. Music. Siwoo Choi just shakes his head, ready for whatever comes. All the while, Go Yu stares intently at the brave challenger before him, lifting his fist. Siwoo Choi snaps that he'll never beg. He narrows his eyes, hunting for one last opening. Smirking mockingly. Music. Go Yu jokes about his big talk while kneeling. A cold sweat beads on Siwoo Choi's brow. It's fine, Go Yu says, reaching a hand out to his fallen foe. Beaming, Go Yu pats his shoulder and delivers the news he passed. He admits he knew Siwoo would deliver, impressed by that incredible endurance. Chuckling, he explains this whole trial was just to see if he deserved backing. Confused about this support, Siwoo Choi tries to remember exactly what was said. But Go Yu nods, confirming his intentions. He mentions how nobody is excited for the looming Night of Demons. Music. Flashback a younger. Go Yu admits he always hated the realm's chaotic nature. Compared to the demon world, he finds the human realm way more chill. He admires how humans enjoy their free time with such wonderfully pointless hobbies. He says they love leisure more than food. Losing them would be a total bummer. Logic aside, Siwoo Choi argues that's hardly a good reason to join forces. When asked about the throne, Go Yu says he wouldn't even lift a finger. He's technically the top seed, music, but there's a massive catch standing in his way. He explains that all the elite candidates are backed by powerful ancient families. In their world, bloodline is everything. Your heritage determines your magical peak. Using a human idiom, he calls it the silver spoon life. Music, Siwoo asks for more details. Siwoo Choi wonders if he's dealing with some intense family drama. Go Yu calls it suffocation, detailing the crushing expectations his clan demands. Beneath the moon, he laments that clan puppets have absolutely zero freedom. They'll either toss him aside or just find a more obedient replacement. Siwoo calls that cold-blooded, but then realizes his own path is totally unique. Music. Striking a pose, he shouts that Siwoo Choi is a total game changer. He's got raw talent and drive unburdened by any annoying family legacy. Leaning in, Go Yue music insists that Siwoo is the only one who can. As a crow passes, Siwoo Choi yells for him to just hold on. He gestures wildly, asking for a breather, since things got intense fast. Go Yue just beams back, totally getting the guy's confusion. Out of nowhere, Solmi drops in and delivers a massive bonk right to Go Yu's noggin. With a face full of absolute fury, she glares him down after that sneak attack. Her paw connects with total power, landing a direct hit. Completely stunned. Siwoo Choi just stands there processing the chaos. That punch sends Go Yu sailing through the midnight sky like a shooting star. He finally makes a rough landing against a distant tree. Wings spread wide, she keeps a sharp eye on where that enemy crashed. Seo Choi yells for her to hold up, sprinting over to try and calm her down. Not missing a beat, she unleashes a flurry of sharp feathers at the target. The volley hits home, lighting up the dark woods with a huge blast. Spotting a single feather on the grass, Seo Choi moves in to check for survivors. She tells him to relax since that little blast didn't even leave a mark. Seeing the guy vanished, Seo Choi wonders aloud who that disappearing act really was. She explains that wasn't actually Go Yu, but his sneaky second personality. Getting into the lore, she shares the ancient legend of the black tortoise's start. Way back at the beginning, it actually started with a pretty normal little turtle. Then came a genius who figured out how to tap into pure yin energy. Pushing past his mortal limits, he evolved into a majestic divine being, becoming the very first black tortoise in history. His kids inherited that strength, though they still need some serious level training to peak. That snake personality, just a little side effect of all that massive power. She calls him a total egoist who only looks out for number one. Since he's pure yin, that snake is famous for being super chill and incredibly cold-blooded. Usually the snake is just a quiet advisor and a master strategist. But Go Yu's snake is different. He takes the wheel whenever he feels like it. That's exactly why the Demon Council was worried about him leading the clan. Dusting himself off, he asks if she's ready, saying they've got to move pronto. He promises there won't be any trouble for being fashionably late. She points at the wrecked balcony, worrying about her mom's reaction to the mess. He tells her it's fine, surprising her with how cool and collected he is. Suddenly, Mongtae pops up, promising everything will be fixed by tomorrow morning. She tries to take the blame for Seo Choi, but he cuts her right off. He says he needs a word with both of them, leaving the pair totally puzzled. Glancing over, Mongtae mentions there's another guest waiting for the group. Stepping inside, Mongtae notes that this is how humans live these days. Indoors now, Seo Hwa admits it's actually pretty cozy and not bad at all. Turning in shock, he asks if she even has an invite to be here. She says no way, she didn't even want to come, but Mongtae dragged her, demanding answers. Seo Hwa glares until he finally agrees to spill the beans. He explains that around sunset, 50 kobolds launched a raid on the local humans. They figured the plan was just to bait out Siwoo and Seomi. Seomi asks if that was wrong, but he reveals Siwoo was the real target. Arms crossed, Seo Hwa guesses this is just one piece of a much bigger game. With a look of pure seriousness, Mengtae drops a total bombshell. 200 people vanished in Seoul overnight. He estimates the actual count is over 500. Seomi gasps, realizing 5 demons were involved. Took part. Turning back, he notes the crime scene hides a very dark, messy secret. He explains that foreign demons have actually arrived in Korea to hunt humans. Sensing the danger, she warns this spree won't end until the Grand Festival. Mengtae mentions the qualification test was next month, but things are too urgent. He suggests they both take the exam early, but with a unique twist. Looking totally serious, Mengtae assigns them the big mission wipe out Korea's uninvited demon guests. Cut to a bright new morning as the golden sun greets the city. Strolling along, Yusin feels bad about leaving Seo Choi in such a rush. Worried for his pal, he fears any trouble will be on his head. Suddenly, Seo Choi pops up, joking that he at least remembered the school route. Seeking a chat, Seo Choi asks for a moment since life just got weird. Inside a cozy cafe, Yusin suddenly shouts, completely floored by the crazy news. Yusin bellows at Seo Choi, wondering if his friend has totally lost his marbles. The other customers jump in surprise, politely asking him to please pipe down. Seo Choi shushes him, promising that he is doing perfectly fine, really. He claims it is a sweet deal that keeps his mom from worrying, facepalming with a heavy sigh. Yusin asks if anyone actually explained his power class to him yet. Sipping his latte, Seo Choi lists 5 weird names. Yusin clarifies those are demon ranks. Heart. He notes that the bottom tier class is the beast, essentially wild animals. They are dangerous, sure, but only like an angry grizzly or mountain wolf. Regular humans with decent gear can actually take them down without much fuss. But anything higher? Yeah, a normal human doesn't stand a ghost of a chance. Take the demon class. They pack the punch of 100 men combined. Looking a bit nervous, Seo Choi asks about the power levels of the others. Yusin calls them walking disasters, guessing the mystic class is 10 times scarier. One of those could turn a peaceful city into a total nightmare overnight. As for diviner spirit ranks, just pray you never ever meet one. Begging him to skip the demon hunt. He offers his place as a hideout, fearing the invaders are mystic rank. Seo Choi asks what rank that giant snake from yesterday probably was. Yusin figures it was barely a demon, nowhere near a mystic's power. If it actually knew how to use its power, we would be toast. Plus, poor Siwoo almost became a snack for such a low-level weakling. He adds that Siwoo is also a demon class, just a weaker one. He shouts at his buddy to wake up and avoid this dangerous business. Folding his arms, Seo Choi cheekily asks him to repeat that. He didn't hear. Grinning, Seo Choi claims he would totally win if they had a rematch today. He knows he was a goner before, but he is a new man. He explains that he finally understands how to brawl and channel his energy. Standing up, he sheepishly apologizes for making his buddy late for their classes. But Yusin ditches school instead, promising a special lesson as he beckons him along. The setting shifts. They reach the 1986 Olympic Arena, a historic landmark now used for major concerts. Entering the basement, Seo Choi is absolutely stunned by the massive facility hidden below. Within the grand training hall, he wonders if his family owns this entire place. Yusin clarifies it is government-owned, a revelation that leaves Seo Choi completely speechless. He explains that the nation's top leaders have always employed powerful shamans for protection. Wait, he suggests those legendary shamans might have actually founded the entire nation themselves. He notes that ancient royalty established a secret agency for training shamans long ago. Shucking his blazer, he confirms the government is fully aware of the demonic threat. Loosening his tie, he admits this secret is often dismissed by the general public. Squaring up in a combat stance, Seo Choi challenges him to strike whenever he feels prepared for their battle. Yusin declares there are no rules, promising no interference. Seo Choi wonders why he's unarmed. He replies that fighting without weapons is the only way for them to duel, lacking his sacred artifacts. He admits his power is halved, but insists he can crush a demon unarmed, even without using any weapons. Pacing forward, he warns that defeating him means surpassing the strength of true demons. Yusin then taunts him, asking why he hasn't made his first move yet. With slightly trembling hands, he prepares to launch his opening strike of the match. Watching his opponent gear up, Yusin maintains a focused and incredibly intense gaze. Seo Choi lunges forward, aiming a sharp, direct punch right at Yusin. However, Yusin catches his arm, effortlessly halting the strike midair. He counters, instantly delivering a firm palm strike to Siwoo's chest. Without hesitation, he follows up with a rapid-fire barrage of body blows. Ending the combination, he delivers a final heavy punch to Siwoo's face. Bracing his foot against the floor, he lets fly a devastatingly powerful kick. Seo Choi is sent flying. The sheer impact triggers a massive energy blast nearby. Standing still, he watches the aftermath, knowing that further talk is useless now. Amidst the shattered ground, Seo Choi's blood drips down. Despite his injuries, he praises Yusin's incredible strength. Cleaning off the blood, he remarks that his friend's moves were like something out of a comic book. Checking his own palm, Yusin realizes he sustained more damage than his rival. He notices his hand would have broken without a protective layer of energy. Seeing his friend's durability, he decides to stop holding back his true power. Suddenly, Yusin grasps that his buddy is far more formidable than first suspected. Charging ahead, Seo Choi takes the initiative by leaping straight at his friend. He attempts a punch, but Yusin deftly avoids the incoming strike with ease. While dodging, Yusin observes his friend is faster yet uses the same pattern. Suddenly, Seo Choi snatches Yusin's wrist, catching him completely off guard. Attempting to break free, Yusin spins rapidly to launch a swift counteroffensive. Seeing the chance, he delivers a powerful knee strike straight to Siwoo's face. That heavy hit sends poor Siwoo's head spinning to the side. Riding the momentum, Siwoo grabs his arm for a massive overhead toss while charging his energy technique. While still midair, Yusin uses his clever descent technique to soften the upcoming landing. He skillfully guides the energy that carried him through that wild throw. He hits the ground with a dusty explosion, emerging from the thick smoke. Our hero lands safely on his feet, recovering from that heavy blow. Shocked, he asks his buddy if that was really what he thought. Clinging to that power, Siwoo admits he finally summoned it all by himself. Honestly, looking at the recent chaos, things weren't looking great for him. Gripping his flickering energy, he was in pretty rough shape for the next round. His body felt fine, but his demonic energy was reaching zero. He drained himself fighting Goyu. Recovering demon energy in the human world is super slow. It's rare here, but being tired helped him remember that magical moment he first summoned his weapon. That specific legendary feeling. Yusin walks over, acting disappointed that the new weapon looks a bit underwhelming and basic. Getting ready, Yusin prepares his next move and leaps towards Siwoo with confidence. Watching the aerial strike, he thinks this weapon looks way weaker than the previous version. Boom. Siwoo's attack connects, triggering a massive explosion of pure energy. Crossing his arms, he barely manages to block that heavy impact. It's a strong hit, but he claims his own energy can handle it. He sticks to defense, politely waiting for his opponent to run out of steam. Suddenly, the summoned power starts causing cracks all across the ceiling. Cracking his energy whip, Seo Choi smiles. The plan is working. A confused Yusin asks what's up. With a grin, Siwoo reminds him that no one can block forever. Grabbing his gear tight, he prepares to strike despite his low power levels. The weapons. It's way smaller than before, but he can still trigger its cool, form-changing ability. He shouts out his attack, moving fast. Yusin braces himself for the incoming hit. Facing the attack, Siwoo turns his weapon into a sphere and lobs it. Yusin manages a solid block. Looking intense, he pushes back hard against the sphere's surprising power. The force slides him back, kicking up a massive wave of glowing energy. Following that hit, Seo Choi immediately jumps into his next cool combat move. He hops back to create some friendly breathing room from the next attack. Suddenly, Siwoo's attack slams the floor, causing a giant cheerful explosion. Wow, Yusin realizes the power actually doubled just by changing its shape. Spinning his gear, Siwoo readies up while Yusin yells at him to quit the tricks. Agreeing politely, he explains this is just a little test for facing real demons. Speechless Yusin realizes that every word spoken is actually the honest truth. With a playful smirk, Seo Choi suggests that admitting his mistake is always an option. Feeling a bit teased, Yusin jokes that it is not his fault the fight is not more exciting. He looks up and asks if they are really going to keep this up. Yusin warns him that the kid gloves are finally coming off, but Siwoo just scoffs at the idea. Boom. Another strike hits the ground, turning the floor into a bunch of expensive-looking stone confetti, giving his weapon a cool little flourish. He unleashes a whole buffet of attacks coming from every which way. The arena gets peppered with strikes, looking like a grand finale on the 4th of July. As the speed picks up, he realizes dodging this is getting tougher than a Monday morning. It turns out Siwoo is a fast learner. Now he is prepping a shiny new move with a very steady hand. He wonders if this is just another fancy cheat code or a new trick. With zero time to move, Yusin blocks the hit, but gets sent flying straight into music. The wall. The impact triggers a massive explosion that turns the whole area into a big smoke show. "You doing okay?" Siwoo shouts through the noise. "That was a pretty sweet last-second save, buddy." Meanwhile, that energy weapon is zipping through the air like a very angry caffeinated bee. Trapped Yusin starts a quick chant to call upon a friendly spirit from the other world. He politely commands the spirit to help out using all that captured energy. Drawing the energy back like a magical longbow, he gets ready to let a spirit arrow fly. He fires with total focus, and the arrow streaks across the arena like a glowing rocket. Seeing the glowing arrow zooming toward him, Seo thinks, "Oh man, this is gonna hurt." Suddenly, the arrow snaps the energy hold on him. His weapon vanishes, and he quickly retreats to find a better spot, without missing a single beat. He crafts a brand new energy blade to keep the fun going. Yusin turns away, bracing for the next move. He hops to the side, dodging a glowing ball of energy like a total pro. He summons another spirit, proving he can still put up a fight, even without his fancy shaman tools. It is a bit of a bummer, since most of his best spells are off limits right now. Sticking the landing, Seo grips his new energy weapon, ready for another round of combat. He wobbles a bit, trying his best to tame the wild power swirling in his hand. By mixing the energies together, he finally forges a super powerful spirit sword for the big finale. Ready for the big strike, Seo lunges forward with his homemade blade to take Yusin down. The two powers collide with a bang, creating a beautiful fireworks show of spiritual energy. On impact, the spirit sword, music, slices right through Seo's weapon, shattering it into pieces. But just as he goes for the win, he hesitates. It is hard to hit a good friend that hard. He grinds music, his teeth, deciding that being a true friend means giving it his absolute all. Clenching his fist tight, Seo Choi prepares one last Hail Mary move to save the day. Yusin's eyes go wide as he realizes he just cannot bring himself to cut his buddy down. Seeing the opening, Seo Choi lands a solid full-force punch right in the music kisser. Yusin hits the deck hard, leaving Seo Choi standing there looking completely confused. He asks why Yusin held back, but Yusin just plays it off. Lying there, he says that was his best spell. He explains that the strike music was strong enough to take out a legendary demon, not just a little practice weapon. Yusin reveals the spell knew he was a human, not a monster. "Aw man, that is totally unfair," he grumbles. The scene shifts as a beautiful new dawn starts to break. Music. Over the city and the busy streets slowly start to wake up for the day. Strolling down the sidewalk, Yusin sports a fresh bandage on his nose. He notices Seo, music, is acting all fidgety and tells him to just spit out whatever is on his mind. Seo asks if his nose will scar, but Yusin just laughs. He heals fast, and besides, the punch was pretty soft. He jokes his nose survived only because his pal pulled that punch, sighing. He admits that Seo earned his respect, though it's just following through on their deal. Suddenly, Music Yusin hands him a special item he's been holding. Holding them, Seo sees tiny, colorful charms shaped like bottles. Yusin explains these are actually spirit bombs he can use in a pinch. Just give a mental command or smash them against the ground. Thanking him, he worries if Yusun is okay giving 3 away. Siwoo notes these must take incredible effort to infuse with energy. Yusun blinks, wondering how Siwoo can already sense such things. Clutching the gourd, Siwoo feels the raw power buzzing inside. The spiritual frequency matches the energy he felt during their earlier duel. These family relics store massive amounts of shamanic power within. The creator constantly pours their own essence into the painted vessels. With these, anyone can trigger high-level spells with a simple toss. Shocked, Yusun grabs Seo's hand, stunned by his high perception. Confused, Seo offers his palm as Yusun starts reading his lifeline. Holding his friend's hand, he makes a very bold claim. Music. He realizes Seo is a rare genius with terrifying spiritual potential. Yusun is totally floored, while Seo remains clueless about the shock. With such incredible potential music, he'd be the ultimate star pupil. But remembering Seo's demon status, he just buries his face. He knows the traditionalist would freak out, making life a living nightmare. Music? Honestly, he'd probably judge the situation harshly too. Handing back the gear, he warns of a bumpy road ahead. Scoffing, Seo asks if he's actually become a fortune teller. Unsure of his return, he prioritizes a new uniform while walking. Music. His feet even shrank, which is totally bizarre. Grinning, Yusun says their classmates will lose their minds. Seo teases that his friend seems to enjoy the chaos. Checking the time, Yusun admits his stomach is finally growling. He asks about food, so Seo suggests a home-cooked meal. He's dying for that famous bacon fried rice again. Yusun mentions a sleeping guest and a tight lunch schedule. Music. He has a post-lunch meeting. Seo nods, totally understanding why they can't hang out today. Music. Yusun promises a rain check, citing their deal, so they postpone lunch. Glancing over, Yusun tells him to walk tall and proud. The buddies wave goodbye, splitting up to continue their day. Reaching the area, he checks his map, stopping before a massive, intimidating metal gate. Before he can read the sign, the door creaks open. Suddenly, a man appears, glaring at the newly arrived Seo. Sensing the vibe, he knows this guy's a beastly demon. Wordless, the man simply strides past him and vanishes down the busy street. A polite woman approaches, asking if this is his first visit to this hidden sanctuary. She introduces herself as Hongrion, the lovely vice chief in charge of the manor. He offers a respectful bow, mentioning he was sent by the Honorable Judge Meng Tae. Acknowledging the news, she warmly invites him to follow her into the private estate. Treading down the dim corridor, he feels a strange, heavy aura looming over them. As they walk, his foot accidentally plunges into a swirling pool of pitch-black shadow. He turns his head and is completely floored by the magical landscape suddenly appearing. Exiting the tunnel, he steps into a massive palace glowing with brilliant golden light. Indoors, tea is served in delicate cups. He sits and thanks her, while carefully scanning the room. He asks if they're still in Seoul, noting how incredibly crisp the air feels here. She confirms his hunch, explaining this house exists far beyond the reach of humans. Gazing outside, he discovers this place actually helps demons adjust to their new lives. Surprised, he recalls Meng Tae promising this little field trip would be a huge help. Suddenly, 2 ancient scrolls shimmer and manifest right out of thin air before them. At the counter, he wonders if those demon coins he found are actually worth anything. She explains that most guests simply trade their demon currency for human world cash. With a playful grin, she reveals that one single coin is worth 3 million won. She adds that their service fee is already factored into that sweet exchange rate. He does the mental math and nearly chokes. He's suddenly sitting on a small fortune. Rising, she offers to show him the shop, then tells an aide to fetch the demon pills. The man opens a wooden chest, revealing a collection of brightly shimmering, multicolored pills. She explains these magical supplements are designed to turbocharge a demon's natural energy recovery. She notes that naturally regenerating power is a painfully slow process within the demon realm. By mixing rare herbs with secret methods, they've created the perfect energy-restoring medicine. Excited, our hero asks if the different pill colors offer unique power-up effects. She explains that each color represents a rank, ranging from silver up to black. Recommending the black one, she promises it offers the fastest energy boost they have. He requests the black pill immediately, and she assures him the effects are lightning fast. Sitting back, she explains that crystal size and absorption are the keys to demonic power. While crystals grow through age or consuming others, absorption is a much rarer gift. True absorption depends on innate talent and is incredibly difficult to improve with mere training. She secretly thinks a half-demon would need several days just to digest one black pill. He swallows the pill whole, while she promises she wasn't exaggerating about its raw power. He has no clue that one pill could actually fill his crystal 4 times over. At that very moment, a radiant, blinding light completely wraps around his entire body. A massive wave of energy explodes, shaking the very center of the luxurious palace. But remarkably, the released energy manages to perfectly match the size of his crystal. Sprawled on the floor in shock, she screams that this miracle should be totally impossible. Within seconds, he absorbed way more power than his crystal was ever meant to hold. Though sweating, he calmly notes it's only his third day living as a demon. Thanks to that pill, he felt a surge of power far beyond his maximum capacity. Moments earlier, over at the House Yanghoi Annex, the vibe was actually quite serene. An associate holds a bottle, asking the guest if he's enjoying the fine drink. Smiling warmly, Dongwoo explains the wine was specially chosen to celebrate this important visit. Our young master thinks the service is okay, but he's annoyed a guy is serving him. He asks for Hongrian, wondering if they're trying to disrespect a noble like him. Dongwoo nervously asks him to stay calm. He says she's busy with a special guest sent by Judge Mangtai himself. He wonders who it is. It turns out the mystery guest is actually a half-goblin. Music. He scoffs, questioning why the judge bothers with that bloodline or even lets a demon like that inside. Music. Seeing their silence, he asks if they've already grown tired of serving him. He then jokes that his words might have offended a sensitive half-demon. Music. With a smirk, he mentions hearing that House Yanghoi is full of mixed breeds. He adds that they don't really fit in with humans or demons. Tugging his robes, he calls their lifestyle a pretty pathetic survival strategy. He smiles, warning they'll never be recognized as true, powerful demons. Staring at Dongwoo, the young master asks if he disagrees with the cold truth. Dongwoo just politely says they don't know where their lives will take them. Music. Taking a sip, he complains that such polite answers are no fun at all. He asks when he can leave, and Dongwoo promises everything is ready today. Explaining the prep, he says his new identity and house have already been arranged. Dongwoo notes they worked fast since he's a protector of humanity. Music. Laughing, he says he doesn't do it for humans, but for personal reasons. This is his big chance to really shine at the upcoming Grand Festival. He boasts he's just as talented as his brothers, only a bit younger. Music. Setting his cup down, he says he needs to prove he's a top candidate. As Dongwoo stands, the young master stops him with a very important task. He reveals he wants Hongrian serving him when he goes to the human world. He wants no distractions while he focuses on hunting down those invading demons. Finally, he warns them not to make him repeat himself since they're only merchants. Dongwoo prepares to send a message to let Hongrian know the news. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the area and cuts their talk short. Completely startled, the two jump up at the loud noise. Through the window, they see the neighbor's roof shaking from the sudden blast. Totally confused, the young master asks what on earth they just felt happened. You see, energy in this world flows through everything just like water. Every life is like a little puddle where that power comes and goes. This law applies to everyone, whether you're a human or a demon. No one can hold more water than their bucket allows. That's just a fact. Back at the scene, Seojun apologizes to the woman for the sudden blast. On the ground, she gasps that the pill is amazing, but a bit much. He replies that he feels great, like he could do absolutely anything now. Still dazed, she asks why there's so much chaos. When suddenly, music, the young master appears, demanding to know who's being so loud and rude. Seeing the mess, she quickly says she'll take full responsibility for her guest. He silences her with a sharp word before she can even finish. Then he asks if she takes him for a fool. He clearly felt the boy's demonic aura in that blast. Does she really expect him to just turn a blind eye to this giant mess? Pressing her forehead to the floor, Hongrian begs for mercy while Seojun turns around. He admits he's still learning to manage his demonic energy. He tries to explain the situation, offering a polite apology for the ruckus. But the young master just smirks, noting he isn't a fan of Seojun's arrogant attitude, clenching his teeth in frustration. The young master demands a repeat. Grinning, Seojun says he's sorry for the explosion, but calls him an amateur anyway. In a heartbeat, the young master snaps a finger blast straight at his head. Direct hit, Seojun is blasted back, smashing through the courtyard walls like a total ragdoll. Talk about destruction. Music. Stunned, Hongrian stands frozen, her jaw hitting the floor as the dust settles. Stay out of this, the young master warns. This is a lesson, not a fight. He claims he's just teaching etiquette while Seojun prepares to strike back. Finger aimed like a gun, the young master preps a fresh attack for his rival. Seojun doesn't even flinch, taking another hit right to the face. Hongrian rushes in, pleading for peace, since violence is technically forbidden here. But as she speaks, invisible blows suddenly pummel her entire body. She collapses to the ground, coughing hard from the phantom impact. Annoyed, the young master reminds her he already warned her not to meddle. Looking down at her, he scoffs that she's just as predictable as everyone else. Wounded, she struggles to grasp what kind of invisible force just leveled her. The young master smugly reveals it's the secret magic of his legendary clan. He orders a kneel down, but Seojun just drops a witty insult, shrugging off his coat. He points out the irony of preaching manners while sucker punching people. Getting into a stance, he decides it's the young master who needs a tutoring session. Challenge accepted. The master sneers, happy to deliver a beatdown. But then Seo-jun begins swatting away the invisible attacks like pesky flies. The young master and Hong Ryeon are shocked as he blocks them effortlessly. Seo-jun casually explains the trick. It's just high-speed water droplets, man. He realizes the first strike used the spilled tea from the ground. How refreshing. Once he caught the trick, those water bullets became easy to see. He adds that any moisture, even morning dew or humidity, can be weaponized. Funny. He muses, this reminds me of a guy I fought yesterday. Comparing the two, he decides the young master is just a total lightweight. He smirks, telling him not to take the truth too personally. As his opponent freezes, Seo-jun's own energy starts to flare up. Livid, the young master spits out an insult, his face twisting in pure rage. Without a pause, Seo-jun lunges forward to finish the fight they started. Winding up a strike, he closes the gap at full speed. Analyzing his foe, he notes the kid's energy control is honestly pretty sloppy. Dodging with ease, Seo-jun confirms the attack was way too predictable. The young master stands there buffering, unable to process his epic fail. Bam Seo-jun connects with a gut-shaking punch right to the solar plexus. Hong Ryeon watches her jaw reaching the floor in absolute shock. Looming over his rival, he politely reminds him that being weak is a bad habit. What a total shocker. Hong Ryeon can't believe it. This newbie just dismantled every high-level technique like child's play. Since his energy was being tracked, he switched the flow at the last second, pulling a classic "now you see it." Heart Seo-jun delivers the "thank you next" finishing move. With the bully finally down Heart Seo-jun stands tall, the undisputed winner. She remembers that this Goblin descendant only debuted 4 days ago. How is this rookie demon already leveling up like a pro? Seo-jun doesn't care for excuses, but he does insist on a polite apology. On the ground, the young master is trembling and totally speechless. Pointing to the lady, Seo-jun explains she was just being the peacemaker. Now he kindly orders the young master to kneel and beg for forgiveness. Seo-jun gives a cheeky smirk, while the villain tries to find his pride. Before any more trash talk happens, Seo-jun blurs forward like lightning. Clink. He swats away a crystal projectile with pure ease. Desperate, the young master lunges, throwing every bit of his remaining energy. But Seo-jun zigs while he zags, dodging with stylish grace. He finds the opening and slams a fist into the earth. The shockwave sends the young master flying like a launched rocket. Crash. He smashes through a roof into a nearby house. Ouch! A trail of blood starts painting the floorboards red. Crawling up, the villain smiles, revealing his secret "I am actually dangerous" card. Oh no. Seo-jun suddenly starts bleeding from his eyes and nose. His pressure-based move turned the atmosphere into invisible razor blades. Even worse, he is flooding Seo-jun's body with toxic deadly water. Paralyzed and hurting, our hero is barely hanging on by a thread. The young master gloats that demon healing is useless against his venom. On his knees, Seo-jun coughs up blood, realizing things look pretty grim. The villain admits he underestimated him, but says, "Good game anyway." He wonders if this power is pure talent or just some freakish demon luck. From the sidelines, Hong Ryeon watches Heart hammering as the scene turns dark. Gathering a massive tidal wave, the master prepares to show off his true form. But wait, pushing off the ground. Seo-jun stands back up again. He does not care about power scaling talk. He is only sure of one thing. Glaring with fire, he tells the young master he is just pure garbage. How is he healing so fast? The villain is totally losing his cool. In pure disbelief, he grinds his heart teeth at Seo-jun's never-quit energy. It is time the young master prepares to drop his ultimate nuke. He summons every drop of water nearby, focusing it for one strike. With the water compressed its heart. That strength, totally physics-breaking. Combining speed and weight, the impact hits like a runaway semi-truck. Jumping back, Seo-jun braces himself for the giant incoming attack. Right then, a fresh blood-based skill starts glowing from his own veins. Safety aside, he's only focused on perfecting his weapon's cool new shape. Using his mid-fight level up, he crafts the ultimate form for defense. That massive water orb zooms toward him at maximum force. Raising his blood blade, he copies a legendary swordsman's move he once saw. But hey, he doesn't need a master's precision for this. He funnels all his strength music into pure, unadulterated slicing power. Plus, his demon crystal is pumping out way more juice. With mana overflowing, he launches one heck of a powerful swing, slicing right through that orb music. His blade splits the attack, water sprays everywhere like a burst fire hydrant. The young master can only watch as the water parts right before him. The waves just rush past, missing their mark entirely. Close call. Totally baffled. Music. He stands frozen amidst all the watery chaos. One big splash later, the whole area looks like a flooded disaster zone. Searching the wreckage, the young master wonders where his opponent disappeared to. He spins around after hearing a noise. Whoops, he's right behind you. Music. Seo-jun pops up. Hey, didn't you say you could heal limbs with energy? Smirking, Seo-jun says that's great news as he lands a solid hit. Weapon ready. He warns that the kid gloves are officially coming off now. Faced with a pro, the young master just stands there, totally paralyzed. Plop, one of his severed hands falls right into the water before him. Without arms, he just flops into the pool. Ouch! Standing tall, Seo-jun watches his opponent scream in agony. No mercy here. Does it hurt? Come on, I thought you demons were tough. Seo-jun approaches and stares him down while he's pathetic on the ground. Without hesitation, he kicks him square in the chest. Music, sending him flying into a house. Stuck on the ground and armless, he starts shaking for a new reason. We see a statue of his divine clan. Boy, they'd be disappointed. As the music baby of the family, he was seriously pampered growing up. Looming over him, Seo-jun asks, "So are you finally ready to say sorry?" Reaching out with a trembling hand, the young master, Music, he reaches out screaming an apology. But he's not actually saying sorry to Seo-jun. Pointing to himself, Seo-jun says, "Hey, your debt to me is already paid." He clarifies that the apology needs to go to the lady instead. Manners. Seo-jun orders him to bow and give her a real heartfelt apology. Giving a stern look, he asks if the brat still hasn't learned. He warns that he's totally ready for round 2 if he keeps acting up. Music. With no other choice, the young master shuffles over to apologize to her. Watching him approach, she remains totally stunned by the whole crazy situation. Finally bowing, he apologizes for acting out. Then someone starts shouting outside an apartment. Inside, a voice asks Seo-jun to grab a glass of water. Back to reality. Seo-jun lets out a yawn, wondering if the master of the house is out. Tucked into bed, she wonders what's taking him so long to greet his guest. The white-haired elder returns totally shocked by the mess left behind. Music director Mo Young notes it's his first time stepping outside in 10 years. His assistant offers a polite apology, but Mo Young waves it off, admitting he simply underestimated the young lad's potential. He checks on Hungry-on relieved to hear her injuries aren't anything serious. Yet the assistant mentions she's quite upset about causing such a messy scene. The director recalls she handed over the pill unaware of its instant absorption. That's exactly when she realized her big blunder. Music. He asks about their guest, while Seo Choi rests after the big commotion. Music. A spread of snacks and tea awaits to help him recover quickly. Sitting solo, he's still wrapping his head around that wild level-up moment. This time felt different. He finally had total control over his own body. Despite the surging power, his mind and spirit remained perfectly steady. Once that extra energy drained his music crystal and heart finally settled, snapping back to reality, he's stunned by everything that just went down. The door shuts, bringing peace. Lying back, he decides the recent scuffle was necessary. The fight was justified in the music. Since the guy was violent, he had to take his arms and he'd do it again. Yet a small part of him actually enjoyed that rush of power. Suddenly, music, a polite knock interrupts his thoughts as a voice asks to enter. Turning his head toward the sound, he invites them in and Hungry-on quietly steps inside, approaching the table. A concerned Seo Choi asks if she's feeling better after the fight. She smiles, thanking him and insisting her scrapes are really no big deal. He reminds her not to be reckless since she was coughing up blood. Bowing deeply, she asks for forgiveness, admitting she wasn't acting like herself. He shrugs politely, blaming himself since he literally blew the roof off. She insists it's her fault for recommending that intense black pill earlier. Turns out a simple silver or gold pill would have done the trick. Stunned, he asks if she just wanted him to buy the priciest option. Music. She then confesses she's a half-demon born from 2 different worlds. As she explains the situation, mixes between humans and demons have actually happened for ages now. Having traits from both, she doesn't truly belong to either race fully. She can sense energy just fine, but she can't store it within her crystal. Music. This leaves her with a constant thirst that regular energy can't fix. Even powerful demon pills have zero effect on her. In truth, she was just incredibly envious of him. She calls him a total miracle. Music. Because despite his human blood, he's an absolute beast of a demon. Blinded by envy for his gifts, she couldn't help but trick him. Bowing, she apologizes for her sin, but a voice says her apology is all wrong. As the plot thickens, Muryong points out that begging for punishment is just a fancy way of dodging real responsibility. Startled by the sudden voice, both of them spin around to see the new arrival. He introduces himself as Muryong and offers a sincere apology for the afternoon's chaotic events. Gently asking her to step out, he mentions he will take over hosting their guest personally. He graciously accepts her apology, telling her there is absolutely no need to dwell on it. Seizing the moment, our hero asks if he can get a refund for that black pill. Director Muryoung stands up and gives a deep, respectful bow to the young man. As she heads out, she thanks him for being so incredibly cool about her apology. Taking in the scene, he mentions that she did not really do anything that unforgivable anyway. Turning to the director, he requests formal arbitration, causing Muryoung to pause for a second. Muryoung explains that the hothead from the fight was actually the clan's youngest son. Munching on a cookie, he notes the kid was not exactly what he had pictured, but the director warns that the young master is not known for telling the honest truth. He suggests a quick sit-down to clear the air before things spiral totally out of control, perfectly understanding the director's clever plan. Seo Choi thanks him, but politely declines the backup. He says he can handle his own business. If that clan comes looking for trouble, he will just set the record straight himself. He would tell them Useong chose violence when a simple apology would have fixed everything. At the end of the day, he only did what was absolutely necessary. He says no apologies are needed since he prefers handling his battles solo anyway. The director warns him that the older brothers are way stronger and much more ruthless. Admitting he is still a bit of a newbie, he recalls surviving scraps with much nastier demons in his past life. He drops a bombshell he must keep fighting to become the next Demon King. Taken aback, the director warns that the title of Demon King is not for the lighthearted. He knows the risks, but he has already made his peace with whatever consequences come. The director realizes this young man is not just talking big, he is being completely serious. Taking another bite, he admits the idea of real demons is actually pretty terrifying. Muryoung asks if he would rather stop them, but Seo thinks that sounds a bit silly. With a look of genuine respect, the director admits the kid has truly caught his eye. Rummaging through his pockets, he keeps a close watch on the mysterious young man before him. He slides an object across the table, leaving Seo Choi wondering what it could be. He explains that the item is a special gift offered as a sincere peace offering. Muryoung reveals he wants to place a bet on the boy's bright future right now. Outside the building, the sky begins to darken as the long day finally winds down. Walking through his front door, he sighs that it is finally time to grab some dinner. A voice asks why he is so late, and he immediately starts rambling an apology. But right at that moment, Seolwa pops into the room and finishes his sentence for him with a wide grin. She tells him not to sweat the time since she just received some juicy new intel. Intrigued, he asks about the news while trying to say hello to her bird. He reaches out to greet the little feathered friend perched on her shoulder. Suddenly, the bird flies up and slaps him. She laughs that he is too slow to notice. As the bird zips away, she warns him that he had better watch his tone around her feisty little messenger. Seolhwa explains that Solmi feels insecure about her lack of white feathers, despite it being normal. Resting a hand on his face, he listens as she reveals the bird was Solmi's messenger. The data shows that last month's disappearances are all centered in a few city districts. He concludes these are hunting grounds and decides they'll raid one of them tonight. Before they head out, she warns him that he needs to prepare for a much bigger challenge first. When he agrees to get ready, she suddenly lands a heavy punch right on his jaw. She then explains she didn't expect a perfect host since she showed up uninvited. But she still complains that the sweatshirt he lent her smells like a gym locker. Ignoring his apology, she orders him to take her clothes shopping this very instant. Arriving downtown, Seolhwa asks if this is the best mall impressed by architecture without magic. Since it was his first time shopping, Seo Choi felt incredibly nervous about the whole ordeal. He'd always been a fan of fashion, even saving up his gold to buy nice clothes. But something always held him back from actually pulling the trigger on a purchase. In the past, he'd promised himself he'd buy new threads only after losing some weight. Now fully determined, he vows to make the most of this legendary moment he's dreamed of for years. Full of excitement, he tells her she can try on anything since it's his treat. Inside the boutique, he finally braces himself for his ultimate first shopping quest. Because of his total lack of experience, he had no idea what to expect next. Grabbing a price tag, he's absolutely floored by the item's insanely high cost. Just then, a saleswoman gushes that his girlfriend is incredibly lucky to have him. Seolhwa begins browsing through the store without a single worry about the expensive prices. Watching her swagger, the store employee is totally blown away by her confident attitude. Stepping out of the fitting room, the saleswoman praises how stunning the new outfit looks on her as she poses. She asks for his honest opinion, and he stammers that she looks absolutely great. When he sees the digital receipt, he's visibly shaken by the massive total on screen. Despite the heart attack, he sighs and says they're heading to the next shop. She questions if they're done explaining she needs way more than just one look. Seeing his stunned reaction, she touches his forehead and beckons him to come closer. Next, she asks him to hold out both his hands toward her like this. She takes his hands in hers while he still has no clue what's happening. Suddenly, several glowing demon coins manifest right in the palms of his hands. She asks if 10 demon coins are enough for their spree, as he stares in shock. She tells him to speak up if it's not enough, and to keep the change. Turning to leave, she calls for him to continue their shopping quest in the store. They keep walking through the mall, hunting for a few more legendary new outfits. Now in a fresh look, she asks how she looks, and he can only reply that she's truly beautiful. Trying on yet another style, she asks for his thoughts on the latest fashion combo. Even though he says it's perfect, she claims the outfit just doesn't suit her vibe. Collapsing on the floor, he asks why, but she just says he's being annoying today. He mentions he's surprised that she knows so much about fashion for a first-timer, without a second thought. She reveals her fashion sense comes from Solmi's magazine stash. He realizes she's a secret fashionista and finally speaks up. Whoops. He accidentally bumps into a stranger while shopping. Startled, he quickly bows and offers a very polite apology. The guy just tells his girl to stay alert. He walks off, leaving her to call humans total wimps. She points out that the guy was the rude one. He should have made that jerk pay for his bad attitude. He tries to argue that it's really no big deal. She insists it is a wimpy demon is just monster food. Acting weak means you'll never gain true respect or power. She adds that he let the Heyday clan push him around. She caught their distinct scent on him from miles away. She guesses he probably tangled with their youngest son. She doesn't know him, but she totally crushed his sister. Flashback time. The sister picked a fight over some rivalry. He asks if she fought back. She asks if she won. She absolutely decimated her, warning her to never return again. She vanished, though rumors of her revenge are still swirling. She points at him, demanding he crush every single opponent. Proper violence now prevents way more violence in the future. He bows respectfully and calls her ma'am, agreeing completely. Then she tells him to prepare for a total annihilation. Downstairs, a group of suits is already lying in wait. He sprints down the hall, desperate to arrive on time. Suddenly, an invisible force yanks him back with incredible power. Sensing the danger, she spins around to find him gone. Looking back, her companion has vanished into thin air. Confused, she tells him to quit playing and show himself. Nearby, a mysterious shadow creeps toward its next tasty victim. The demon finishes snacking on the guy it just captured. In a cafe, she grumbles that he tasted pretty bad. She sips her drink while eyeing the people around her. A little boy nearby starts staring at her in confusion. Seeing the kid, the demon flashes a truly terrifying grin. The boy freezes, completely paralyzed by her wicked aura. She reveals her true form, bearing sharp teeth and tongue. In the end, the poor child is just about to cry. Sipping coffee, the demon gets annoyed by the child's screaming. He whispers the name Chien, looking away with total contempt. Just then, another demon approaches him for a serious chat. Chien warns him that he's ready to defend his territory. When asked about fighting, he says local demons found them. Chien suggests leaving, reminding him of their no-fighting deal. But the other demon smiles. The deal was just no commotions. He notes it took a full month just to find them. He labels the local demons here as total weaklings. Retreating now would be a very silly move. Since rules were already broken, why stick to human snacks? He smiles, suggesting they feast on those two demons. Siwoo finally gets the plan and politely confirms it. This store was the hub for all those disappearances, so Siwoo baited them out with his own energy. They didn't run time to teach them some manners. They declare the city as their personal hunting zone. The crowd is huge because of this prime location. 3 subway lines meet here, making it very busy. A nearby bus terminal connects the city to everywhere. Music. These factors turn the area into a bustling hub. It is the perfect spot for people to vanish. Stopping a disappearance here is nearly impossible, right? In this crowd, nobody notices if someone goes missing. She senses 4 distinct demon vibes in the area. They have split their territory between the 3 spots. He worries and suggests they call for some backup. She agrees, but notes the enemies are provoking them. The bad guys won't back down from a fight. Even if the odds look a bit messy, they must capture the targets no matter the cost. They follow laws and cannot harm any innocent humans. This fight is just a test from the judge. The subway is too packed for a proper brawl. She smiles, saying the staff won't be a problem. She releases energy ready to handle the small crowd. Night falls as we shift to the rooftop garden. One demon wonders exactly where their friend Chien went. Ray explains she left to avoid the whole mess. Chien refused to risk everything for 2 measly demons. Ray insisted everything would be just fine, though. To her, it was just a high-risk, low-reward bet. She felt the team was totally unreliable all month. Ray asks if she really thinks she can quit. She politely says she is already leaving the scene. She thanks him for the lessons during their time. She leaves him with a very cheeky, mocking smile. The others grumble that he was too nice. Ray shrugs, saying Chien was never a team player. They have enough people, but the rejection still stings. Now they wonder what their next big move is. Spilling the beans. Ray points out a secret nook where they can keep their little hunting spree going. He's set on snacking on locals while showing those pesky neighborhood demons the exit. For good. Using a human shield, he jokes that the good guys wouldn't dare attack them at full strength. But his sister chimes in, reminding him their clever little trick has a fast approaching expiration date. Until then, they'll binge eat their way straight to a massive spirit level power-up. He rallies his sisters, bringing up that totally uncool time their family got embarrassed. He promises that once they head back, nobody will dare treat them like second-class demons. Armed with these upgrades, they're basically destined to run the whole show in Jongyuan. Actually, scratch that he thinks they might just be the next legendary demon kings. Downstairs, Seolhwa flashes a confident grin, totally ready for the main event, when suddenly, the three siblings feel a weird vibe and instantly snap into seriousness mode. A massive wave of energy washes over the shop, catching the trio totally off guard. Seolhwa's voice booms through the halls, sounding polite yet super powerful. She kindly tells everyone to go home, while gently mind-controlling the shoppers nearby. Just like that, every employee drops their tasks and heads for the exit. Her violet whisper trick uses aura to give people some very persuasive suggestions. Success depends on how close they are and their mental strength. Seeing only 3 people leave, Ray wonders where the last worker wandered off to. Up on the roof, Seolhwa bets he's not quite silly enough to stick around. Ray's shocked she climbed up so quickly. She just teases them about their stinky smell. She says she's just glad they're fighting out in the fresh open air. Totally ticked off. Viren grits her teeth and gets ready to pounce. Ray tells her to chill, spotting the provocation. He sends Wylan downstairs to handle the rest. He notes there's one more straggler, so he and Viron will deal with the fox. With a grin, he tells her she can snack on the demon after the job. On cue, Viren takes a huge leap off the roof to the floor below. Seolhwa laughs, saying he should have ordered her to run as far as possible. They square up, telling her she'd better worry about her own neck instead. Ray sizes her up and realizes she might actually be out of their league. But after snacking on 1,000 humans, he's pretty sure they've got this. The pair gears up for a showdown, letting their dark energy explode. Seolhwa chuckles, finding their total lack of self-awareness pretty adorable. Flaring her own aura, she decides to see if they're actually all talk. Downstairs, an old lady wanders out, looking confused by the weird voice in her head. She ducks behind a pillar, still trying to figure out what's going on. Right then, Seo Choi rushes over and catches her before she takes a tumble. The startled lady asks what's up, and he politely checks if she's okay. He makes up a story about a gas leak, saying the shop's closing early. She thanks him and asks if he's seen a little kid wandering around. Seo points toward the lower level, telling her that her grandson is right there. He watches her head down, letting out a big sigh of relief for helping. Seolhwa notes that demon-resistant humans are actually pretty tough to hypnotize, so she asks Seo Choi to play bodyguard for any humans still lingering. Scanning the area, he spots 7 people and decides to keep looking. Strolling through the hall, he picks up a weird energy ping close by. As he wanders closer, a sudden shout makes him spin around in total shock. Wylan suggests they just act like this meeting never even happened. She admits she planned to eat him, but he looks pretty low-calorie. Grinning, Wylan chirps that the only thing that matters is he is her type. Backing off, he politely explains he is not looking for a Demon King career. The girl beams, suggesting they wipe the slate clean and be best buddies. Skipping the snack idea, she asks for his thoughts. He just asks about the floor below. Smiling sweetly, she asks if he means that nice human she just sent away. Showing her messy hands, she admits she actually ate them both as a snack. She just could not let good food go to waste, right? Furious, Seo Choi charges. He leaps forward to land a massive blow on her face. Seo lands a solid heavy punch right on her nose. She slams into the wall, but Seo's eyes are already drifting toward the escalator. His face drops as he realizes he has no clue what is actually happening. Suddenly it clicks, demons survive by snacking on regular humans. He flashes back to the last 3 days of his very intense training. He learned the hard way that these demons are not just for show. Rattled by the memory, a brand new realization hits him right in the gut. He always focused on hunting demons, ignoring the danger to innocent people nearby. Dusting herself off, Wylan whines that his punch really hurt. Wiping her face, she says he surprised her. Now he looks like a gourmet meal. Seo Choi just shrugs, calmly saying that works out perfectly for him. With a focused stare, he gets ready to jump back into the action. He springs forward again, flying through the air to land another hit. She shouts that he's coming from the left, but he fakes her out from the right. Grinning, he says he would much rather be called delicious than just plain handsome. He follows that up with a non-stop flurry of super fast punches. Blasted backward, she skids across the floor, trying to find her balance. The sheer power of his combo sends her flying across the shopping mall. She hits a pillar hard. Seo takes a breath, checking the mess he just made. Across the way, Wylan lets out a little chuckle while trying to catch her breath. Slumped on the floor, she pouts that she looks silly after acting so tough. Suddenly, she spots something weird and goes totally quiet for a second. Staring at Seo Choi, she blinks and asks what on earth is appearing. Totally wowed, she asks if that cool magic trick is actually his power. Raising his hand, he summons a glowing whip and lashes out at her instantly. The whip streaks across the hallway at lightning speed, nearly snagging her. The strike connects perfectly, causing a huge explosion of energy. Caught off guard, she can only groan about her terrible luck. But Wylan catches the whip. She sighs, hoping he would not see her get serious. She is remarkably strong. His weapon starts falling apart as he realizes she is finally showing her true self. Looking startled, he spots something huge heading straight for him. Seo quickly braces himself to block Wylan's incoming strike. Wylan zooms ahead, charging right at Seo with amazing speed. Wylan's arm morphs into a tougher form for a punch, but Seo stays sharp and blocks. Seo jumps back in, putting every ounce of his strength into a counterattack. After taking that heavy hit, he steadies himself firmly on the floor. Boom, the impact sends her flying straight into the nearby wall. Catching her breath, she admits she would have bolted if she knew Seo would see this. She explains this magic form is hers, though she honestly finds it quite hideous. Seo Choi tries to disagree, but she cuts him off, already knowing the truth. She mentions she smells like a rotting corpse lately. Definitely not a great discovery. She reveals her species, the Brain Eaters, actually needs human snacks to gain power. Since they weren't exactly high level, a new law nearly wiped them all out. To her, banning human snacks was basically like telling a person they can't drink water many, many centuries ago. Her kind starved while hiding, and sadly, other demons ended up taking her parents' lives. She confesses she only feels blue when she sees her siblings struggling. The three of them had to survive in the human world's shadows without parents. Music. Living in sewers was tough, but she smiles and asks if he can imagine life now. Quite cheerfully, she says she can finally be beautiful and leave those old struggles behind. She casually mentions that eating humans is no big deal since it is just their way. A bit shaken, Seo Choi politely clarifies that he is not ready to give up his life. Waylon suggests they just play pretend since she is not actually looking to kill him. But he stands firm, reminding her he is human and wants the law to stay. He tells her to save the sob story for later and invites her to fight. Seeing there is no middle ground, she gears up for her next big move. Without skipping a beat, she blurs across the room, charging at Seo Choi with frightening speed. He tries for a block, but her demonic strength is just way too much for him. Feeling that power, he realizes a direct head-on clash might not be his smartest move. Even with his fast leveling, Seo Choi finds himself facing some pretty tough odds. It turns out this demon has a growth rate that puts his own training to shame. While trying to defend, the sheer force of her strike sends him flying back. Music. The impact is so huge that you could see the explosion from quite a distance. She politely apologizes, mentioning she is still getting used to all this brand new power. Waylon promises to finish him once she's ready, since human snacks are like ultimate power-up potions. Music. After a month of these questionable meals, Waylon's power level has reached some absurd heights. Taking a quick breather, Seo Choi dares her to use magic again, but she thinks his last move was his only shot. Giving her a maybe, he focuses his energy into his palm and fires off a barrage of glowing projectiles. Music. She dances around the shots, quickly realizing he can't just spam that magic freely. In music, he rushes in and connects with a solid punch using his newly transformed fist, striking back with a flurry. She decides to play with her food first, leaving poor Seo battered from her attacks. She actually feels a bit bad, music, that she doesn't even know her opponent's name yet. Preparing to finish things, she politely says it was truly a pleasure meeting him. Gazing up from the dirt, he realizes she poured her whole heart into that strike. Time to show his hand. He reveals his secret move. His big gamble totally worked. Rewinding a bit, Sealhwa asks Seo Choi if he actually squared off with Guyu. He admits it wasn't much of a duel. His best moves barely tickled the guy. She notes that Guyu just shrugged it off. He's playing on a whole different level. She adds that he's legit one of the strongest warriors out there. Few demons, even at 500 years old, can match his raw power. A bit nervous, Seo Choi wonders if she's in the same boat as that monster. Oops. She gives him the look, and he instantly apologizes for being so rude. With a confident grin, she says she'll win anyway. She is the strongest after all. Curious, he asks about her skills, hoping she kept her cool during the fight. He tells Mangti he tried a pro wrestling move, combined with a special item. Since Guyu didn't have a scratch, Seo Choi realized he'd hit a serious ceiling. He ponders the fact that Guyu didn't even flinch when he attacked. Seolhwa senses there's a deeper secret beyond just a basic level gap. Smiling, she explains that wrestling is all about pure muscle, not fancy magic. Suddenly, a massive rumble shakes everything right outside the car. As the ground trembles, she stays calm, wondering what that loud noise was. She beams. noting he's finally getting it one less thing to worry about. Right then, the demon race stumbles in looking pretty beat up. He asks what she's doing there, and she admits she was worried about him. She calls him a decent challenge, but admits she's a tiny bit disappointed. Sighing, she regrets thinking she'd need 4 tails to handle this. Gazing down at the fallen Waylon, she figures out why the demons hit Korea and asks who's helping them hide. Ray plays tough, swearing he won't spill a single secret to her. She giggles, telling him that acting all dignified just looks silly on him. She offers a friendly deal talk now, and she'll let him keep his life. His body begins to warp as he stubbornly rejects her offer. She stays totally chill while watching him transform, just analyzing the situation. Sensing his rising power, she readies a red thread for the coming scrap. Fully transformed, he charges at her with some seriously impressive speed. Powering up, she calls upon the great demon emperor's first bridge. With a burst of massive power, she ends it with one perfect hit. As the ground shakes again, she notes the outcome was always inevitable. She looks at him and sighs at such a waste of potential power, with a little crow perched right on her shoulder. She says true class is about style, and the crow even compliments her outfit. Startled, Siwoo asks her feathered friend exactly when she showed up. As the bird flies off, Solmi returns, teasing her about being so boring. Siwoo gets worried, noticing Solmi looks like she's had a rough day. Solmi laughs tiredly, admitting she's been searching both worlds without any sleep. Starting to tear up, she looks at Siwoo and begs for some help. Clutching her clothes, she vents about all the chores she's doing solo. Siwoo is all in for helping. But wait, who are these mysterious guests? Before Solmi can answer, the floor starts a groovy little earthquake. She glances over, and Siwoo bets that Rumble is just our boy Seo Choi. Solmi looks up as her friend confirms he is currently brawling. Panicked, she asks if he is okay, but Siwoo notes that danger is just part of the grind. For a goblin, aiming for the throne battle is just part of the job description. Too much worrying is just a speed bump on his road to greatness. Relax, girl, Siwoo tells her to take a breather and just trust the process. Back at the action, it looks like things are wrapping up fast. Waylon screams, "Hey, why won't you just stay down already?" Bam, she connects with a massive punch right to his face. He hits the dirt hard, but shakes it off like a total pro. She is baffled. How is this guy still standing after that beating? He catches her arm, sporting a grin that says, "Everything just changed." She stares stunned. He is still on his feet, while he catches his breath. Then he reveals his secret move, good old-fashioned goblin wrestling. Forget weapons. Every goblin has these grappling skills baked into their DNA. But this is not just gym logic. It is pure, unadulterated demonic magic. Goblins do not just win because they are buff. There is a real trick to it. Stepping forward, Seo Choi politely says sorry for geeking out mid-fight. He just needed a moment to memorize this awesome new power level. Eyes glowing, he decides it is finally time to wrap this party up. As she charges, he readies himself to tank the next big hit. She grips his head, aiming for a permanent game over. Very serious business? Consider this payback for earlier. Okay, he blocks her easily and counters with a solid bonk to her noggin. Seo explains that parrying is martial arts 101, folks. But he goes beyond that. He spreads the impact like tree roots grounding into the earth. Super effective. Just keeping his balance was the secret sauce all along. This nifty trick turns him into a total damage-soaking tank. Plus, it gives his goblin wrestling skills a massive stat boost. Right then, his gear starts vibrating with all that spicy energy. Powering up to the max, he readies his finishing move. It is time to show off. He triggers his ultimate hidden ability. He snatches Waylon midair and gives her the ultimate shoulder toss. He slams her down with the force of a falling piano. Waylon cannot even blink. She is totally floored by his crazy skills. The whole building groans from the impact as he chills by the crater. Just checking his handiwork. The floor below completely shatters, leaving him sitting pretty in the ruins. Looking pretty beat up. Waylon has one final polite request. Could you finish me off? I would like to go out in style. Sorry, no can do. He needs her around for some serious question and answer. Chuckling, Waylon quips that she'd prefer staying alive for a very good reason. Suddenly, he spins around. Sensing a presence, he barely blocks a lightning-fast sideswipe. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Solmi breaks the news. Demons from China have arrived to take charge. Siwoo gets excited, hoping these newcomers are actually strong enough to be fun. Solmi sighs, warning that their help is a famous, stubborn, and total headache. Grinning, Siwoo wonders if it's some ancient 1,000-year-old granny coming to visit. Not quite. As Siwoo guesses her lineage, a striking figure appears before Seo Choi. Meet our guest, the legendary granddaughter of the great sage Sun Wukong. She stands tall, radiating an aura that says, "I'm definitely the boss here." Seo Choi realizes he's just collateral damage in her grand entrance. He tries to introduce himself, but she snaps she couldn't care less about his name. With a thick accent, she declares that the sinner behind him must face execution. Fiddling with her earring, she gives one final warning to step aside. Snap, she breaks her accessory and it starts glowing with intense magical light. Scram, kid, she warns, unless you want to be buried right alongside her. She blows a tiny thread toward him, launching a deceptively deadly magical strike. It's moving too fast. He barely tracks the projectile as it screams toward him. Boom. A massive blast rocks the area, turning the landscape into a smoking crater. As the smoke clears, she's surprised he survived. He used Waylon as a shield, earning a not bad. Man, if he hadn't trained and leveled up, he'd be toast right now. Thanks to his secret techniques, he managed to deflect the worst of the impact. Still, that blast was a bit much for his fresh, developing body to handle. Gasping for air, he wonders if his shaky legs can take another round. She's not done yet, promising that his luck officially runs out right here. She gathers her energy, focusing every drop of that divine monkey demon magic. Wind of Spirits. She unleashes a gale force attack with absolutely staggering power. Everything vanishes behind a massive wall of dust and debris from the impact. Wait, her eyes widen. Something just completely neutralized her finishing move. A massive fist intercepts the blast, literally crushing the energy into nothingness. Flat on his back, Seo Choi is just trying to catch his breath. He blinks, staring up at the chaos while trying to process what happened. Suddenly, a mountain-sized creature looms over him like a protective guardian. Seohwa strolls in, casually mentioning she followed the scent of a weird vibe. She shoots an annoyed look at our high and mighty visitor from across the border. Picking on the weak, she scolds. You better have a really good excuse. The tension is thick enough to cut with a spirit sword. Well, she adds, start talking if you're fond of having a pulse. Turning to the protagonist, Seohwa asks if he's still in one piece. He wobbles up, insisting he's fine, while she asks for the short version. She ignores the carnage, sensing that this whole mess started for a silly reason. Seeing his look, she explains that our newcomer is basically a demon princess. She's just here to flex her ego and show everyone who's really boss. Meanwhile, far away from the drama, our grumpy demon grumbles that this world is a total dump. She wonders how to work with such clueless, low-level underlings. Seohwa just smirks, daring her to finally show some real skill. Poor Seo Choi gulps as the atmosphere gets way too heavy. He's bracing for impact while the two rivals gear up for battle. They lock eyes, ready for a legendary showdown. With powers surging, they charge up their flashiest finishing moves to strike. Disaster looms. Seo Choi panics, but Solmi suddenly drops in to shut them down. She politely reminds them to play nice since they have guests. Caught red-handed, Seohwa is totally speechless after that scolding. Solmi turns her icy gaze toward the backup recruit, too. She points a finger at Xiaohui for swinging first. Unauthorized demon duels are a massive crime in their world. That is the king's law, period. Solmi gets serious, threatening to drop the gavel right this second. Seohwa whispers that a report and deportation are now on the menu. She notes that Solmi's position isn't for the faint of heart. Many want the glory, but very few can actually hack it. Telling scary demons off with a smile takes some serious guts. She might be sweet, but she has a spine of steel. Xiaohui sighs, finally cooling off and realizing this isn't worth it. Seohwa agrees, deciding that training this kid can wait for later. Xiaohui leaves them with a chilly warning to stay away. Seohwa almost snaps back, but Solmi puts a firm hand down. One scary look from Solmi is all it takes to keep peace. Checking the area. Solmi cheers for a total success. She gives Seo Choi a big thumbs up for his hard work. The neighborhood is safe, but other teams are still out hunting. Pro-demons like Goyu are covering the other sectors today. She's confident they've bagged most of those pesky invaders by now. Apparently, some helpful humans are pitching in during their off hours, per the official contract. The demon squad handles everything south of the Han River. As for the north side, the shamans are busy sweeping those streets. Over in Namsan, the city lights look surprisingly calm tonight. Yu Xiong is totally wiped out after that fierce scrap. A lady teases him, saying that's the price for being a lone wolf. So Youngji introduces herself, suggesting he should have called for help. He grumbles that sidekicks would only trip him up anyway. She reminds him that a leader needs to actually lead people. He clutches his mask, admitting he never wanted the top spot. Looking at his fallen foe, he complains about being forced into management. She eyes the massive beast, impressed by its sheer size. It's definitely a mystic-level threat, but the boss is still out there. Yu Xiong clarifies that was just a mid-tier demon scout. Music shocked, she realizes he soloed 10 mystic demons alone. Seeing his progress, she gets why he was promoted. Sifting through demon ashes. Yu Xiong wonders about the paperwork they must file. She says they must leave to meet the commissioner. No breaks allowed since Seoul is facing a crisis. Showing the news, she notes it looks like terrorism. Agreeing it is best they must maintain their image. He sighs and agrees, but the airport awaits tomorrow. Stunned, he asks why he needs to go early. A Japanese Onmyoji family requested a two-person team. He was chosen to keep the group power balanced. At the gate, visitors are revealed as clan heirs, lugging his suitcase. He says the heir is different, while she encourages him. He knows it will be tough, but hopes Korea is fun while failing his greeting. So Young scolds his lateness. He tells her to hush. He wonders why they accepted this job. Shamans and Onmyojis rarely ever work together. Music. Technically, it happened once during the colonial era. Two Japanese mages once visited for a joint exorcism. They caught the demon, but things were quite messy. They did not get along, making things very difficult. Their bickering caused more wreckage than any demon did. Looking back, their huge differences made this expected. She warns him that any spark could start conflict. Nervous, he says he will run if things break. So Young warns that the guests are right there. Music. Standing by a pillar, two young people wait patiently. He glances in their direction, noticing a young man who looks like pure trouble, stepping slowly forward. He approaches to meet the newcomers at the gate. Staying calm, he tries a polite Japanese welcome, but the boy bows and shakes his hand first. Surprised, he hears the boy speak perfect Korean. Meet Yoshihiro Kira, who hopes they can become friends. So Young hears he has studied Korean since middle school, offering a handshake. He says his sister is better despite her phone. She barely says hi while typing on her device, noting her coldness. Apologizing. He introduces Yuzuru Kira, noting she is actually 2 years his senior. Music. He realizes covers are truly deceiving. One look at her confirms she's the real mischief maker. They hop into the car, a hotel stay already perfectly booked and ready. While cruising, So Young kindly offers to help if they feel any discomfort during their visit. Kira smiles, grateful they secured such a nice place to stay so fast. Noticing her master's silence, So Young gives him a friendly little nudge. He nods back, apologizes, and asks about their true mission here. Yuzuru wonders if they're here for work or just a fun vacation. So Young explains that more info lets her provide top-tier hospitality. The young man pauses, carefully picking the right words to share. Suddenly, music. Kira chooses honesty, catching his sister completely off guard. She's skeptical, but he insists there is no point in keeping secrets. He argues that transparency is best for getting their full cooperation. Asked which demon they are currently chasing. Music. He explains it isn't a spirit. Kira details Asia's 4 major demon categories. First are beast demons, clever animals empowered by mystical energy. The second class consists of vengeful spirits greater than music. Souls turned demonic. Finally, Tsukumogami are ancient relics with souls. He adds that nature-born demons are typically referred to as spirits. Music? But there is one scary exception known as the Tatarigami. His master immediately recognizes that name, calling it the shadow demon in Korea. He confirms this. Music. So Young says they emerge from the abyss, born from humanity's shared fears. Only one shadow demon per species exists in any single generation. So Young warns that their growth and hunger exceed all imagination. Highly intelligent, they rapidly gain power, music, by consuming absolutely everything. Their past appearances caused such chaos that everyone had to unite. Regarding the demon's type, Kira admits it remains a total mystery. Yuseong only knows a prophecy foretold its birth and westward journey. Dropping them off, Yuseong kindly tells them to get some rest. Stop music. Walking inside, Kira asks his sister for her thoughts. Outside, Yuseong vows to help, calling this whole situation a disaster. So Young agrees, and he confirms he's totally on the same page. So Young wonders what the mastermind behind this is actually chasing. Thinking back, Yuseong notes that yesterday's demons were total pushovers. If they want something else, this is a waste. If they wanted us off guard, it worked. So Young thought the hunt was finally over, but suspects a shadow demon might be pulling all the strings. She turns shocked to hear that music, it isn't just Japanese demons lurking here. Demons from across the globe are invading Korea. He continues. Music. Finding a shadow demon is rare, but certainly not impossible. If a rogue demon has been growing for a month, that's trouble. We are talking a different tier, perhaps even spirit level. Someone else is hunting this demon. She watches the city skyline. Hopefully, she's just overthinking things. Next, we head to the mountains. Siwoo likes the vibe here since it's peaceful and quiet. Siwoo doesn't care if a few humans spot them training. Siwoo laughs, joking he can just brainwash anyone who sees them. Siwoo goes quiet, giving Siwoo a surprisingly serious look. She asks if he's losing sleep over yesterday's tragic events. He jokes it's her fault for being slow, hiding his guilt. Looking down, he admits he wishes he could have done more. Siwoo smiles. That's exactly why we're here, time to level up. She'll teach him magic whenever possible so he grows strong. Basic demon magic is a total lifesaver in dangerous situations. Siwoo nods eagerly, promising to be her best student ever. Suddenly, she's a total blur, her feet dancing across the dirt. She closes the gap, instantly catching him completely off guard. Stumbling back, he tries to call a timeout, but it's too late. She grabs his shirt, saving his fall. Careful there, hero. A proper goblin should never let their guard down like that. Holding him close, she teases that this position is actually perfect. Leaning in, she softly tells him to just stay still. She whispers that the training session will be over very soon. Siwoo catches a whiff of her sweet peachy scent. Suddenly, his head starts spinning. Wait, what's happening? She just watches him, with steady eyes staying perfectly silent. Siwoo's eyes flutter shut as a strange sensation washes over him. When he opens them, the entire world has completely shifted. He's in a familiar place, yet everything feels slightly off. She tells him to relax. This isn't the physical world. She explains they are currently hanging out inside his own subconscious. He turns around relieved. He asks if she is just another illusion in his mind. Nope, her magic is way more special than a simple trick. Her tribe's violet whisper tricks the brain with realistic sensations. She can manipulate movements or even make people forget things. By linking their minds, she's built a mental bridge between them. Basically, she's just a friendly houseguest in his head. Her hand glows, signaling the start of the next lesson. Surprisingly, she's actually excited to see how he handles this. Using her power, she summons an opponent to test his skills. A dark, shadowy figure begins to take form right before him. As the darkness settles, the opponent's silhouette becomes crystal clear. Siwoo panics. Please don't let it be a super buff version of me. She clarifies that this isn't exactly his former self. With a cheerful smile, she calls it a memory-perfect clone. Aren't you curious? Let's see who is truly the strongest. Snapshy notes that power level feels just like old times. She remembers him being totally exhausted back then. With a firm step, the copy takes a solid battle stance. It is finally time for the real showdown. Boom, the copy launches forward like a human rocket. Closing the gap, it prepares to land the first punch. Crash, a powerful strike narrowly misses its target. She notes he was a beast, even without demon powers. Whoa, he feels the shockwave and wonders what is happening. A quick kick sends our hero stumbling backward. Talk about a total surprise. He can barely keep up with that insane speed and power. A flurry of punches slams him right into the dirt. Was I really that tough? This clone is on another level. Blocking the blow, Siwoo looks for a chance to counter. He tries a quick jab, but the copy blocks it easily. Oof, a knee lands directly on his chin. Relaxing, she asks if things are getting too difficult. She admits a physical brawl wouldn't be easy for her, especially in a pure fistfight. Siwoo takes a deep breath, prepping for the next round. Music. Sipping tea, she notes his talent only works on weaklings. Can he handle a real genius? He can't land a hit. No matter what he tries, the copy won't even budge. How is this possible? The power gap is just massive. Siwoo watches with a curious raised eyebrow. Shaking it off, he assumes a fresh fighting stance. The copy blitzes toward him with incredible momentum. He realizes he has been learning from the copy this whole time. Those club memories are helping him unlock new forms. If my clone can do it, then I definitely can too. He strikes the earth, copying that perfect defensive move. The copy recognizes it, the legendary ground stomp. He admits the clone's version was way more impressive. Forget the demon energy. Let's try something different. I might not be a master yet, but watch this. He launches the copy high, revealing a few hidden tricks. Club in hand, he is ready to bring the heat with confidence. No ground up here. How will you use your stomp now? He readies a massive strike for the final showdown. He tosses the club high and it grows into a giant. Grinning, he watches his weapon hover ready for the final strike. The club slams down with full force, triggering a massive blast. Smiling, she shuts her book, awaiting the final result. Gripping the club, he cheers, having finally found the weak spot. She politely congratulates him on doing such a fantastic job today. Siwoo acknowledges the impressive strength he displayed during the duel. Laughing, she points nearby, telling him to take a closer look. Startled, he spins around, sensing a new presence creeping up. He spots a familiar figure holding the club, looking dead serious. Raising the weapon, the copy readies itself for another round. She explains he is recognized because the copy stole his club. A cold sweat breaks out. He realizes the copy deemed him unworthy before. Now it readies a massive strike. Stunned, he stares at the weapon, feeling the massive energy it radiates. Dropping to his knees, he knows there is no way out. Bleeding, he grumbles that this whole situation is totally unfair. The copy strikes, causing a gigantic explosion upon hitting the floor. After the blast, his mental world shatters into a million pieces. Battered and defeated, he returns to reality and passes out instantly. Waking on the ground, he still feels the battle's heavy toll. Helping him up, she praises him for putting up a fight. She admits it was unfair, but he forced out 5 tails. Curiously, he asks how many tails she needs for him now. She muses that 3 or 4 would work in a rush. She reveals her power multiplies by 1.5 times per tail. Looking serious, she suddenly lets out a sharp, loud shout. She calls out a hiding rat, prompting Hongrion to emerge, apologizing. Bowing, she claims no malice, surprising Siwoo, who recognizes her immediately. Seolhwa asks if they met and he confirms her noble house. Hongryun explains she is delivering a deposit for their new contract. The item is a special outfit made from a high-tier treasure. Yesterday, Mo Ryong notes the word investment can be quite tricky. Inside, he promises to support Seo Choi with all needed resources. Showing rare items, he claims they have been strictly kept secret. Seo Choi listens, thinking the whole proposal sounds pretty sweet. But he quickly asks what investment really means in this case. Asking his price, he is told he is one sharp kid. The director prepares to reveal their true goal for the boy. Laughing, Mo Ryong reveals they currently want absolutely nothing from him. He explains that is why it cannot be called an investment. Being blunt, he warns that Seo Choi is not their only choice. A supporter's future rests entirely on the next Demon King's shoulders. Mo Ryong adds that even weak demons crave becoming loyal vassals. Explaining the game plan, he reveals how big-shot backers pick their winning players. Seo Choi feels fine, though he guesses others might find it a bit awkward. With a friendly nod, Mo Ryong confirms he hit the nail on the head. Mo Ryong notes that grumbling usually vanishes, before sharing a pretty funny example. Next, he mentions the big boss of the Haiti clan, their old favorite candidate. Waving a hand, he adds that Seo Choi showed serious potential, pointing straight. He claims our young hero is actually the perfect partner for their team. Now Mo Ryong explains he must prove his stuff by outshining pesky rivals. Weaklings get dropped in this wild festival. If he actually ends up as king, Mo Ryong will set ground rules for what happens next. Encouraging him to accept, Mo Ryong calls it a friendly token of their friendship. With a flourish, he gifts the boy a special item. Rocking new threads. Seo Choi feels great with that. Seolhwa mentions he can magic the outfit on whenever he feels like dressing up. For the magic words, Hongryun says it is easy, just say on and off. Ready to test it. Seo Choi says off. Suddenly the clothes poof away in a flash. Right there. Seolhwa shows off by flicking her own magical outfit on and off fast. From the sidelines, Hongryun chuckles that Seolhwa is having the time of her life. She adds that the girl is a total prodigy who has rejected tons of offers. Spinning around, Seolhwa gives Hongryun a playful glare and asks what is up. Pouting, Seolhwa tells her to beat it, suspecting her of being a little spy. Dropping in, Seo Choi tells her to chill out and asks what the fuss is about. Hong Ryan spills the beans they finally found where those nasty demons are hiding. She says Mo Young wants to be helpful by sharing all the juicy intel. Seolhwa gets skeptical, wondering exactly how she snagged such detailed info. Telling her to keep it real, she asks if Master Useom rings any bells. Seo Choi nods instantly, totally remembering that guy from the Haiti clan. She mentions he was out hunting last night with a couple of other guys. He asks if Useom was the source who leaked the secret demon hideout. In a quick flashback, Hong Ryan shows those two demon guards getting totally wrecked. She wraps up the tale saying the young master basically ran away like a coward. Shocked, Seohwa wonders why nobody told her about this massive fail earlier. Hong Ryan explains they only heard the news this morning since he was super late. He was hurt and totally panicking, so they decided to take him in. Apparently, he is still a mess, mumble repeating the whole disaster over and over. She figures the pure terror and embarrassment just broke the poor guy's brain. Looking at the mess, Seohwa notes he really disgraced his family by bolting. Then she asks if the judge knows yet, since he definitely needs the update. Seo Choi replies the judge is aware, but he doubts anything will be done. Grabbing him tight, Seohwa says, "It was just one slip-up. We'll handle it later." Walking off, she warns Sol-mi is struggling. Glancing back, she tells him to check it out if he is so worried. She adds, she warns him that Mang-tai and Sol-mi will surely block his solo mission. Seohwa notes he already knows the coordinates and doesn't need anyone's permission. Recognizing his restless spirit, she sees his burning desire to slay the demon. Seohwa admits she'd do the same, so she won't stand in his way today. Offering one final tip, she urges him to identify the demon's specific class. Walking away, she warns him to stay alert against demons that wield magic. A portal flickers open as she leaves. Suddenly, Seo Choi turns to Hong Ryan. He locks eyes with her, demanding every detail that Useom previously shared. Back at the hotel, Yoshihiro wonders exactly where his sister is heading off to. Yuzuru quips she's just stretching her legs instead of staying stuck in her room, feeling quite suspicious. He asks if a simple stroll is her only plan. She mentions local rules. With a heavy sigh, she doubts the shaman's intent, asking if he really thinks she'd hunt here, pointing her finger. Yuzuru tells him he's acting strange and should follow his own advice. She points out she wasn't the one who caused trouble at Sumida River. She promises to return for dinner. Then the bedroom door slams in his face. Alone now, he bets she won't even pick up the phone later on. The elevator reaches the 14th floor and the doors slide open with a chime. Inside the car, Yuzuru stands alone, her face set in a serious expression. Tapping a button, she decides she won't be staying in this place long. With effortless grace, she summons a spirit to lure the demon to her. Facing the spirit, she asks for great fortune, wondering if it's truly possible. The spirit agrees, noting that her accumulated energy is quite massive indeed. It explains the 7 types of fortune before manifesting one specifically for her. Clutching the small scroll, she offers thanks, still unaware of which specific blessing she just received. Downstairs, it's revealed that the spirit always grants the luck one truly needs. Smiling, she feels confident that capturing this demon will now be a breeze. But reading the scroll, she finds she's been granted a blessing for love. It claims she'll meet her dream man today. Suddenly, a scream echoes nearby. Yuzuru crumples the paper, questioning if this was really the help she required. Speaking to his driver, Siwoo decides to walk. Just then, Yuzuru turns and spots him standing there. He sighs, frustrated by the awkward situation he's just stumbled into. Strolling along the sidewalk, he grumbles about the bus. We transition now to Hangang Park, Seoul. Locals are enjoying a peaceful sunny afternoon while walking through the park. On a bench, Bi-hyung hears Chien mention he seems to be having fun. Stepping closer, Chien admits she thought he held a grudge against all humanity. Recognizing his old comrade, he asks exactly when Chien arrived on the scene. Chien says she's been here for minutes waiting for a quiet moment. He clarifies that harboring hate is quite different from simply observing their lives. It's like humans watching tiny insects even if they find the bugs repulsive. He wraps up his thought, mentioning how entertaining their desperate struggle truly is. Chien doesn't quite get the vibe. He just tells her she's still too green. Listening to the veteran, she's told that she will understand everything given enough time. With a soft sigh, Chien asks if the siblings really met their end. He notes that Waylon might be breathing, but the result is basically the same. He's certain they'll try to interrogate her, but they won't learn a single thing. Chien admits last night was on her mind. Once she was alone, everything clicked perfectly. Relaxing on the bench, she admits it was a bit silly to only realize her feelings now. Frustrated, she snaps that she should have just gobbled up those siblings herself. Talk about hungry. Bi-hyung asks with a curious smile how many people she actually devoured. She politely responds that she didn't exactly keep a tally of all her victims. Revealing the spot she mentions, she basically finished everyone inside that entire building. Bi-hyung lets her know she's free now since the midnight deadline has passed. As they stroll, he kindly informs her that his days of interfering are over. With a grin, Bi-hyung says the 7 are now free to do whatever. Checking his phone, he predicts the disappearance news will break right after his lunch. Feeling suspicious, Bi-hyung asks how she knows the fight details. She just smiles and confirms she was there. Flashing back to yesterday, she admits she was right there watching the big confrontation go down. Hiding nearby, she explains it was a total coincidence, but something caught her eye. Smiling brightly, she says it's no big deal for now. Meanwhile, Seo Choi is just walking downtown. Right in front, he sees Yuzuru staring him down. She tilts her head, wondering what he's looking at. She notices the demonic energy he's leaking. He's not even trying to hide his power. Considering her options, she sees 2 paths. He's either a human puppet, or even more likely, he's baiting someone by pretending he can't control his massive energy levels. He checks his hand, looking closely at the item he's holding so tightly. Gripping the tracking dagger, he prepares the artifact. Hong Ryan explains that a shard stays lodged in the target. This way, whoever holds the dagger has a literal GPS for their enemy. Seo Choi realizes Yusom was using that shard to hunt the demon down. She notes that it can track targets for well over 1,000 kilometers. Hearing the mechanics, he figures he just needs a bit more energy to pop that blade out. Usually it regrows, but this particular enemy was just way too powerful. Holding the dagger, he realizes the demon is actually keeping the blade in on purpose. Following the trail, he finds a suspicious building at the end of an alley. Music. Inside, a demon calls for Tao. Then the bandaged demon points toward the mess. He looks at his friend's arm, appearing very worried about the injury. Seeing the wound, his buddy asks if it's finally time to remove that blade. Tao just chuckles at his injury, treating it like a tiny scratch. But then... music? His demon buddy walks up, looking totally stressed about the situation. Dude, why are you bringing scary hunters to our front door? He fumes. He's worried. Music. He warns that being famous means no more easy human snacks. Tao just smiles and drops a bombshell. He's officially quitting human meat. Then, what's for dinner? His pal yells. Tao says he found a tastier goal. He recalls fighting. He realized that crushing strong foes is way more satisfying than eating weaklings. Right then, music. Zen's eyes light up. He finally knows his true purpose in this world. Tao's new diet. Only the strongest fighters will satisfy his massive hunger now. Their buddy thinks this is crazy and decides it's time to bail out. Tao just gives a polite smirk and asks, "Are you totally sure, friend?" The partner agrees their paths have split, so he's ending their demon duo. Sad, but totally necessary. He reaches out a bit nervous about what happens next. Suddenly, music. He's shocked when Tao actually reaches back for a polite handshake. Tao stays super cheerful and wishes his old pal the best of luck. "Thanks for the memories. I really learned a lot from you guys," Tao says, but then he politely suggests they stay far away for their own safety. The demon calls Tao a weirdo, then tells Zen they should leave fast. Zen looks at him, but he isn't moving an inch. "I'm staying with Tao," Zen declares, leaving his partner absolutely stunned. Zen explains why. Music. "Tao saved them yesterday, and now Zen wants to level up just like him." "Don't be a total dummy. Know your place," the demon shouts angrily. Tao turns. He warns Zen of the danger, but promises to protect his life forever. Seeing this happen, Zen is speechless. The partner groans and quits this whole weird drama. "Mind if I snack on those humans downstairs before I head out?" Tao gives him the green light to feast as much as possible. "Enjoy your meal while you can," Tao adds with a cheerful grin. Meanwhile, Seo Choi arrives at a spooky, massive warehouse in the distance. Inside, Zen asks Tao if he's feeling alright since he's acting weird. Tao grabs his arm, insisting he's totally fine, just a little surprised. Outside, Seo expected him, but definitely not this early in the game. An old drawing reveals the demon's legendary and super scary true name. Two gets ready for company as Seo steps into the empty building. Entering, he instantly senses music. Two distinct powers. One demon is definitely lurking right on the ceiling. And down below, music. The thick scent of blood, Seo must choose his next move carefully. Outside, Yuzuru pulls up, looking at the warehouse with a suspicious glare. Glancing around, she realizes this must be the demon's favorite dining hall. How rude. She ponders why our hero charged right in without a second thought. He definitely knew, it's obviously a trap, but he went anyway, what a guy. Tossing the paper, she recalls that kids' fortunes are always incredibly spot on. A love horoscope. She's sure her Mr. Right is close, but there's a catch. The lucky message failed to mention exactly who this mystery man might be. She considers Seo Choi for a moment, but nah, he's way too clumsy for her. Feeling a strange vibe from above, she prepares to crash the warehouse party. Summoning her trusty pal Raiju, Yuzuru gives the polite signal to move out. With a graceful hop, her summon scales the building like a total pro. Touchdown. Now they're ready for whatever spooky surprises await inside. Looking around, she wonders if she gave this creepy place too much credit. Zen is shaking like a leaf until he notices these demons are actually weaklings. Trying to keep his chin up, he starts a little self-pep talk. "I can do this." Meanwhile, she politely offers to obliterate any rude guests. Back with Seo Choi, he's minding his step down those very dark stairs. He halts, squinting into the deep shadows that look quite uninviting. Oh boy, there's a demon having a rather messy snack down there. The demon spots him and asks, "Wait, what kind of human are you?" Casually strolling forward, Seo Choi gets ready to have a polite chat. "So how many of you guys are hiding in here?" he asks cheerfully. The demon mentions the others went upstairs, calling our boy quite a weirdo. The monster hopes to finish its lunch and then make a quick getaway. It eyes Seo Choi, deciding he'll make a perfect substitute dessert. While the demon nods, Seo Choi makes a move that's way too fast. He zips around, teasing the demon to try and keep up if it can. Wham! A solid gut punch leaves the demon coughing and totally stunned by his speed. Not giving the poor monster a chance to catch its breath, he grabs it and gives the warehouse floor a very forceful introduction, ouch, while the demon is down for the count. Seo Choi politely asks one last time about their numbers and special skills. The demon's jaw shifts into something way more unpleasant. It shrieks, "Hey, don't you dare look down on me like that." Seo Choi just stands there calmly watching the monster charge up again. Suddenly, zip a lightning fast slash leaves a mark right across his face. The demon cackles, saying he totally missed his chance to finish the job. It warns him that everyone needs to learn their place in a fight. Keeping its distance, the demon decides to spam ranged attacks from afar. Suddenly, a flurry of rapid slashes comes flying at our young hero. Even after taking a few hits, he stands tall like a total champ. The demon lunges with a massive strike, and oh no, his arm is gone. That direct hit was no joke, slicing right through him. It's a rough scene. His shoulder, chest, and even an ear took a hit. Huffing and puffing, the demon looks completely wiped out after that combo. It gasps, "What are you? You definitely shouldn't be standing right now." Seo watches his foe totally vibing with that desperate need to grind for power. Seo wonders aloud if this measly strength was really worth all that effort. Rejecting their dark path, Seo charges forward to serve some righteous justice. His sudden burst of speed leaves the enemy completely shell-shocked. A sharp precision strike aims right for Seo's incoming fist. His hand is severed, but Seo's warrior spirit doesn't even flinch. The defeated demon gasps that eating humans is just their daily snack. Lying in the dirt, it claims that predators eating prey is just natural law. Seo Choi just shrugs. agreeing that life can be as unfair as a glitchy game. Without missing a beat, he delivers the final clean knockout strike. He plucks a glowing loot orb from the fallen foe with his bloodied hand. Turning from the body, he examines the shimmering prize in his palm. Leaving the mess behind, he prepares to consume his hard-earned level-up reward. Meanwhile, one floor up, things are starting to get pretty spicy. Sparks fly everywhere as Zen realizes the script has gone totally sideways. Beside her spirit creature, Yuzuru politely asks where the big boss is hiding. Zen stumbles over his words, playing the no clue card as best he can. She stays frosty, keeping her eyes locked onto the demonic target. Zap, a massive electrical bolt sends poor Zen straight to the floor. She sighs, concluding he's just a newbie who missed the morning briefing. Seeing the demon down, she considers bagging it alive for those sweet bonus points. Tao pops in, suggesting Zen needs a serious attitude adjustment first. Yuzuru notes that real-world grinding beats book learning every single time. She is a summoning pro with over 100 demon exercising badges. But even with her high level, she pauses for a nervous microsecond. Tao strolls up, calmly, advising her to project a more top-tier aura. She can't sense his stats yet. He definitely smells like a boss-level demon. Seo Choi returns from downstairs, politely apologizing for the little misunderstanding. He explains his buddy was just a bit too hyped for some combat action. Despite the pleasantries, Tao gears up for a real high-stakes showdown. Suddenly, a weapon snaps out, moving faster than a frame rate drop. Seo teleports into action, standing toe-to-toe to face Tao's challenge. Tao just grins. Seeing this raid finally got a whole lot more exciting. Seo Choi rushes in, delivering a polite but firm kick to the face. He follows up with a spinning kick that really rings Tao's bells. Tao goes flying, crashing into the warehouse floor like a total ragdoll. Zen shouts out in worry, clearly not enjoying this part of the show. From the floor, Tao asks if she's some secret high-level psychic. Seo Choi suggests it's probably time for her to make a polite exit. She tries to offer backup but gets shut down before she can help. Tao smiles, explaining he prefers his duels without any annoying distractions. He eyes the young man, wondering if his gut feeling is actually correct. It seems this kid is way thirstier for this fight than he is. She is totally fuming after being called a mere distraction. She grabs her golden loot item, ready to unleash some serious power. He kindly asks who on earth she thinks she's addressing. Prepared for battle, she politely yells for Seo Choi to skedaddle. He spins around, warning that his training doesn't allow for holding back music. Suddenly, her artifact glows, unleashing the mighty deer's thunderous roar. Springing upward, she sends a zesty bolt of lightning straight at the enemy. Tao and Zen can only blink as that shocking surprise zooms their way. Recalibrating her aim, she fires another cheerful blast of energy at those demons. Oops, she realizes holding back against these guys just won't work. With a smile, she decides it's time to go all out. Gearing up, she summons the Raging Thunder for a superpowered finish, then with a spectacular kaboom. The lightning wallops the building music. As the dust clears, she catches her breath. She quickly notices that after only 2 shots, her mana tank is already looking half empty. It seems her levels just don't match this local energy. Suddenly, Seo Choi gently snatches her arm and the artifact. Surprise. Telling her to take 5, he gives her a very focused look. He warns her that overdoing it is a recipe for a game over. With a soft energy wave, he shoves Yuzuru to safety. She watches him prep for solo mode. After all that noisy excitement, the warehouse finally gets some peace and quiet. Yuzuru gasps, thinking the demon escaped, but wait, there's more. Seo Choi explains the baddie didn't run far. They're still energy-linked. Grabbing the energy thread, he pulls it taut to show the connection. A glowing line stretches across the room, linking the music pair perfectly. Checking the stats, he notes the demon's partner was a total noob, so that flashy attack was just a polite way to run away. Prepping to leave, he says he's got this solo mission covered. A bit annoyed, she calls him silly and turns around, but then she freezes. He looks quite intense, telling her she hasn't seen absurd just yet. In a flash, he secures her neck with zero hesitation. Yikes. Still holding on, he calmly mentions he's tracking his squeeze pressure. He warns that a tiny bit more force would be quite problematic. He challenges her to react, or it's lights out right here. Moving like a pro, he hops back and dodges with total grace. Suddenly, he looks back, totally surprised by something small. Looking down, he spots the tiny little creature waddling his way. The cute little thing reaches him and starts poking his leg. Boop. He stays silent, watching the adorable assault with a straight face. He lets go of her neck, slowly pulling his hand back. Freeing her, he says, sorry, but claims a little aggression was needed. He explains the last attack was actually targeting him all along. He continues, saying the demon used her as a rescue distraction. So does she need more proof that her level is still too low? Telling her to head home, he heads out to finish the job. Walking off, he politely mentions he's had enough tragedy for one day. Wait, just one more little detail before I head out, he adds. He points down, mentioning the poor folks resting in the basement below. He asks kindly, please, since no one wants such a lonely discovery. Morning arrives, and for a second, the city feels totally peaceful. Seo Choi strolls the alleys following that glowing spiritual GPS thread. Stopping briefly, he offers a friendly thanks for the polite gesture. Tao stands there smiling because he actually kept his word today. Snip, the thread breaks, and luckily there's not a soul around. This construction zone is empty because those spooky rumors scared everyone. Aside from some curious folks with cameras, it's a total ghost town. Seo Choi grabs a rusty pipe, getting ready for some friendly sparring. With a polite, sorry, Tao strikes a pose ready to rumble. He's wearing a huge grin, clearly pumped for this epic showdown. They jump sky high, moving so fast, it's basically a blur. Power meets power. But wait, Tao spots something a bit unusual. Swift as lightning, Seo delivers a legendary kick right to the jaw. Firmly gripping his blade, Seo readies a truly devastating strike. His sword connects, delivering a massive hit straight to the chest. That impact was huge. Tao goes sailing into a brick wall. He smashes through everything like a wrecking ball, looking totally shocked at the kid's raw power. No time for breaks, Seo Choi lunges at his downed foe. He aims for the head, but Tao manages a desperate block. Clinging to that pipe, it's a total 50-50 toss-up right now. Eventually, the real power gap starts making things look a bit dicey. Tao grabs the kid's face, finally letting his inner beast out. He lands a heavy punch, taking control of this high-stakes brawl. Ouch, Seo Choi spits blood, feeling the weight of that heavy hit. Meanwhile, Seolhwa mentions he got pretty lucky with those demon pills. She gives him a stern warning. Let's avoid the demon supplements, period. Too much dark energy is a recipe for a total disaster. Just look at that kobold who completely lost its tiny mind. It couldn't take the juice, and she worries he might turn into a monster too. Back to the battle. Tao admits it, this young man is actually doing a fantastic job. Compared to yesterday's losers, this guy's in another league. Wiping his lip, he shows off a shiny orb, asking about its gorgeous glow. Boom, the goblin mask appears as his third special ability unlocks. In a nearby village, a guy starts bragging about seeing a real goblin. At home, his buddy says he's just telling tall tales again. He swears a giant demon attacked, but a goblin hero saved him. So what did it look like? The friend asks, wanting the juicy details. He says the beast was massive, like twice his own size. But honestly, besides the height, it looked like a totally normal guy. His friend just laughs, saying it was definitely just a tall person. No horns, you say. One man laughs, but his friend has a different tale to tell. Hearing this, a third guy chin strokes like a true philosopher. I believe every word he says, sounding way more serious than usual. He's convinced the goblin he spotted was totally horn-free. Wait, you actually saw one? The others gasp and he nods proudly. Flashback time. Young him saw two goblins brawling, looking surprisingly human. They weren't yelling though, just staring each other down like a tense western. Back to reality. The guys are still skeptical about the no horns thing. Then he drops the bomb, the two fighters just vanished into thin air. But wait, there is even more to this mystery. They wore pointy masks or maybe helmets, then poof, they were gone. Just like that, they blinked out of existence. He remembers the mountain shaking as he ran. Whatever, says another, refilling the cups. Music. He figures every crazy demon legend starts with a grain of truth. Turns out human gossip just twists the facts over a few centuries. Like those famous goblin horns. Yeah, they aren't even biological. It is actually a high-tier combat mask forged from pure demonic energy. And that whole turning invisible thing that has some fine print too. Turns out the invisibility legend is just a giant half-truth. Goblins rocking those masks don't actually pull a ghost act. They are just moving so fast that even other demons cannot track them. Boom. A massive explosion rocks the area, but Tao is just standing there smiling. Ouch, Tao's hand looks like it has been through a total blender. Seo lands a heavy-duty punch right on Tao's smiling face. Tao goes flying, spitting like a fountain while his boots leave skid marks. But Tao is not done. He retaliates with a brutal headbutt. They trade blows, then pause to stare like they are in a dramatic movie. Tao lunges back in, grinning like he is having the time of his life. Bad move. Seo grabs his clothes before he can even land. Seo hoists his rival up and starts spinning him like a human helicopter. He keys up a special technique ready to launch Tao into orbit. Cut to the city where the buildings are literally starting to rattle. Something smashes into a wall, turning solid concrete into total confetti. Dust and debris rain down everywhere after that massive impact. In a dark alley, Tao's feet splash down into a dirty puddle. Even with both arms busted, Tao stands up to face the music. Seo lands nearby, finishing his human projectile throwing session. Suddenly, he feels the mask's new powers clicking into place. It is supercharging his skills, but in a totally weird new way. Siwoo realizes his power level is spiking way beyond his control. His hands are shaking. Real pain is a brand new experience for him. Plus, his energy is draining 3 times faster than normal. He has got to finish this fast. He won't last long at this rate. Tao just grins. You are amazing. This fight is the best lesson ever. Squeezing his knuckles, the main character finally realizes his true potential. Tao's arms regenerate instantly as he politely thanks Siwoo for the meeting. Tossing his gear aside, he tells Tao to skip the gratitude for now. Biting his finger, he kindly asks the monster to please just vanish. Tao just chuckles, noting that dying simply isn't on his schedule today. Grinning, he charges forward, having more fun than a kid at recess. The duel resumes, and another massive rooftop explosion lights up the sky. Moving at top speed, he rushes his rival with every ounce of energy. They trade lightning-fast strikes, looking like a perfectly matched pair of fighters. The ground beneath them cracks from the sheer weight of their epic blows. Their level-ups keep them perfectly even in both strength and agility. It's all about endurance. The first one to hit their limit loses everything. Making things harder, Tao begins charging up a terrifyingly powerful new attack. He gathers energy and blasts Siwoo right in the middle of his chest. The impact creates a massive blast that shakes the building to its core. Slammed against a wall, he realizes monsters aren't the only ones who evolve. Tao unlocks a rare magic skill, looking surprised by his own sudden growth. Getting back up, Siwoo squares his shoulders for the next intense round. Tao sends a huge wave of magical force crashing toward his opponent. Timing his jump perfectly. Siwoo manages to hop right over the incoming strike. He prepares a counter, gathering bright energy into the palm of his hand. Releasing his power, he creates a blast that cancels out his rival's move. Using the mask's buff, he gears up for the final showdown against Tao. Neither of these legendary monsters is ready to quit this incredible scrap yet. Tightening his grip, he puts all his remaining mana into one single hit. He swings hard. The two forces collide with a massive, thunderous roar. They both realize they need even more destructive power to finish this. Facing off, both warriors decide to break their limits at the same moment. Using his magic, Tao starts crafting a shiny new toy for the fight. He summons the Supreme Wave Spear, a weapon that is totally overpowered. Undaunted, Siwoo pulls out his own gear for the big final clash. Charging in, Tao sprints with his spear, causing a massive water explosion. When the dust settles, Tao is slumped in the ruins, looking very tired. Admitting defeat with a smile, he gracefully accepts that he lost the duel. He even tells Siwoo his weapon looked awesome right before he fell. Standing tall, the victorious Siwoo looks down at his defeated opponent. He's exhausted and missing an arm when a stranger calls the fight amazing. Walking closer, the man notes how much stronger Siwoo has become lately. Calling him a pure-blooded goblin, he adds how nice it is to meet. Introducing himself as Baehyung, he explains that he's a fellow goblin too. Turning toward the stranger, our hero stays on high alert in the debris. Siwoo remains cautious, while Baehyung politely tells him to just relax a bit. As Siwoo stares suspiciously, Baehyung promises not to get involved with Tao. Suddenly, a piece of heavy rubble goes flying across the ground like paper. Startled, Siwoo reacts quickly as he sees Baehyung starting to move away. Glancing at Siwoo, he notes how cheerful Tao looks today. Eyeing the fallen demon, he remarks things could have ended differently. Grinning, he adds that it's fine since another chance always comes. Siwoo lunges from behind, shouting that their time ends right now. Exploding with power, he strikes Baehyung. Surprised, the target braces for impact. He admits that sudden ground roots were his only saving grace, gripping his blade. He notes Siwoo's true form is incredibly keen. Suddenly, Siwoo realizes the exact skill needed to crush his foes. He sees that raw power wasn't what halted his earlier strike. It was the perfected art of grounding impact into the earth, heart. Clutching his gear, Baehyung is glad Siwoo recognizes such high mastery. Releasing his grip, he lets the tool clatter onto the floor. Leaping back, Siwoo listens as Baehyung acknowledges how messy this feels. He adds heart that Siwoo believed he was the world's final goblin. Siwoo snaps back, claiming he isn't puzzled and doesn't care anyway. Seizing his collar, Siwoo demands to know if he's the target. Grinning, Baehyung admits he invited those strange demons into their world. He then asks if Siwoo desires to learn the actual motive. Promising the full story, he says he's been craving this chat. His gaze twinkles as he gets ready to spill the tea. Impatient, Siwoo rushes ahead with a sudden sharp frontal assault. Baehyung simply observes the strike without even blinking an eye. He then begins offering some friendly advice between two fellow goblins. Silencing him, Siwoo buries a heavy fist into his gut. Heart. Coughing blood, he suggests keeping feet planted against a powerhouse. Detailing the root technique, he says it parries almost any blow. Now he's ready to demonstrate how that skill turns offensive. Launching a massive strike, he sends Siwoo flying into a wall. The collision is brutal, causing the entire wall to crumble instantly. Fisting his hand, he explains this art maximizes force for free. Still, he commends Siwoo for mastering the goblin basics all alone. Stepping through debris, he casually asks if Siwoo is a dog person. Ignoring the silence, he declares that canines far surpass mere humans. However, even pets get irritating when they start snapping their jaws. Looming over Siwoo, he blames the owner for a pet's bad behavior. He finds it disgusting when the weak forget their lowly rank. Smiling creepily, he views them as nothing but brainless tiny pests. Furious Siwoo objects, but Bi-hyung warns him to stay focused. Heart beaming. He admits he loathes humans along with many others. Starting his tale, he recalls a world without kings or rules. He explains that raw strength dictated the entire natural food chain. Back then, both humans and demons were just snacks for elites. Smiling, he finds the way demons wait for meals quite amusing. Bi-hyung calls them pampered cattle who mistakenly believe they're actually hunters. Thinking back, Bi-hyung rants about how folks totally forget their true place. Tucked behind laws, they act messy and never own up to their actions. They think they can step on others without consequences. Talk about entitled. The kicker. They don't even realize the system is what's keeping them safe. So he asks Siwoo to imagine a world without all that silly red tape. A lawless place where might makes right is the only rule that counts. Without safety nets, the irresponsible would finally zip it and hide away. Siwoo's furious. He calls the plan childish, but Bi-hyung just finds it absolutely hilarious. Standing up, he admits he doesn't expect Siwoo to understand his vibe. Their values are worlds apart, but he'll be changing that very soon. Bi-hyung admits he became a fan after Seo's big win against Tao. With a grin, he invites Siwoo to join him and learn everything. Siwoo asks, "And what happens if I just say no thanks?" Bi-hyung basically says, "That's cute, but you don't have a choice, buddy." "Just relax," he says, as Seo's arm starts twitching from the tension. He warns that resisting is useless, so why make things difficult? Suddenly, he spins around. A new challenger is approaching from the back. His smug face drops the moment he sees this unexpected guest arrive. Enter Yuzuru. She's ready to rumble with a special item in hand. She zaps him with a high-voltage electric attack. Talk about a shocker. It wasn't meant to kill, just to keep him totally paralyzed. Seizing the moment, Siwoo rushes in and lands a massive punch to his head. Boom. His fist connects squarely with Bi-hyung's face. That's gotta hurt. The impact is so wild, Bi-hyung goes flying like a home run ball. Turns out there was a very specific reason Seo's recovery was slow. His body was focusing on that weird change his weapon just went through. He didn't know why it happened, but he felt the raw power. He ignored the logic and focused on the legend of his weapon. It's a legendary tool that mirrors the owner's desire to change form. Until now, Seo only used this for defense during his level training. He'd swap its shape for every situation like a total pro. But this time, he wasn't just making a tool for the moment. This was serious. His weapon was now fueled by his sheer will to reach his goal. He knows the dark cycle demons eat humans. He couldn't stop it before. But now he can at least crush the target standing right in front. Vowing to win, Seo pours all his spirit into the blade. Even Bi-hyung gets a little nervous seeing this intense monster energy spike. As Seo grips the hilt, pure bloodlust starts to take over. Channeled by his will, the weapon reveals its true epic form. A massive wave of energy ripples through the entire city below. Watching from afar, Yuzuru is absolutely stunned by the power display. Despite being spent, Seo raises his new weapon, a giant war axe. Standing in the wreckage, he looks like a true legendary hero. Witnessing this, Yuzuru's left wondering where this crazy power came from. Right now, his energy is looking exactly like a high-level underworld archdemon. He suddenly bolts forward, swinging that heavy axe right at Yuzuru. "Get down," he screams, but Yuzuru's too shocked to move a single muscle. The strike zooms in, but poof, it gets redirected straight toward Bi-hyung instead. That's when Seo realizes he didn't even leave a tiny scratch. Bi-hyung pops up out of nowhere, impressed by his massive growth spurt. Even though he's totally spent, Seo can't seem to touch the guy. "Nice weapon," Bi-hyung says, checking it out with a polite little grin. Looking at the sky, he sighs that it's a shame nobody's dying. His hand heals instantly, just another day being a responsible adult monster. Then he lunges, striking Seo with one incredibly fast and heavy blow. Bi-hyung frowns, realizing the whole situation just got way more annoying. Boom. The force of the block actually explodes Seo's weapon into pieces. Seo goes flying back as the poor girl watches the whole disaster. Walking up, Bi-hyung explains that this weapon's true form has one job. He adds that Seo's blade was literally made just to kill him. Defending with an offensive tool is like trying to block with your body. He jokes that Seo should have just used his bare hands from the start. Bi-hyung asks if she's really just a normal human from this country. He turns around, wondering if Yuzuru is a famous shaman from Japan. With a spooky look, he warns she should have checked the room first. He glances at Seo and offers a very special one-time deal. If Seo drops his stuff, he'll let the girl live no strings attached. She looks closer and realizes that's a legendary pill from Yanghui House. He smiles, reminding them that every miracle drug has a nasty side effect. It turns out Siwoo totally pushed his power crystal way past its limit. Now everything's up in the air and Siwoo is looking completely wiped out. Holding the girl, he tells Siwoo to just surrender and follow him. "Don't listen!" She screams right as Siwoo raises that mysterious little pill. She claims she's been ready to die for an exorcism her whole life. Bi-hyung looks super annoyed, saying she's finally starting to bug him. Suddenly, the poor girl starts screaming in total pain and agony. "Know your place," he says, but then something slashes his hand. He stands there frozen, wondering where that sneaky attack even came from. Surprised, Bi-hyung scans the area to find his mysterious new attacker. On the other side, a guy in glasses appears, looking totally ready. He charges ahead, landing a flurry of lightning-fast punches on Bi-hyung. Mid-chaos, a hand grabs Siwoo's arm. It's Go-ayu telling him to stay. He warns Siwoo not to waste any more of his precious energy. "Why are you here?" Siwoo asks, but Go-ayu just smiles politely. He just points a finger toward all the massive property damage nearby. He tells Siwoo to take a good long look at the mess. Yuzuru catches her breath while Go-ayu gives a friendly little wave. "Yuzuru is fine," he says, "but I can't say the same for him." Trading lightning fast strikes the suited man, and Bi-hyung clash fiercely. Our suited friend gears up for another straightforward direct charge. Slipping away just in time, Bi-hyung dodges that heavy incoming hit. Blocking a kick, he sighs. He tosses his rival, claiming their levels just don't match. Grabbing an arm, Bi-hyung politely warns that these attacks are useless. Suddenly, poor Bi-hyung starts bleeding from his eyes and mouth. Go-ayu explains his clan trades raw strength for specialized inherent magic. Using his mana, tiny water droplets begin boiling in midair. Still bleeding, Bi-hyung gets struck by a nasty blood-based technique. Yu Yang introduces himself, admitting he needs tricks to beat martial arts. Bi-hyung notices the magic shifting the very nature of the water. Apparently, this spell's power depends on how pure the water is. Because of this, the clan loves using groundwater and steam. Bi-hyung realizes the melee fight was a trick to steal his blood. Boiling blood is a super rare and difficult skill to master, using his hands. Yu Yang readies his next big move against our hero music. With a simple finger flick, he triggers the waiting spell. Shocked, Bi-hyung braces himself as Yu Yang fires a high-speed water blast. Seeing the explosion, Bi-hyung is impressed by the power. Yu Yang notes every species has gifts. He then gathers several more water droplets. They float nearby before exploding against the surrounding buildings in a flash. Approaching Siwoo, Go-ayu assumes that Siwoo is already used to such chaos. He mentions Siwoo already survived the Hayate clan's magic yesterday. Siwoo recalls the fight, noting the energies feel very similar. However, he senses a massive power gap between these two mages. This magic is different. Go-ayu explains that even demons have different skill levels. He claims Yu Yang is the absolute best in the entire Hayate clan. Facing Bi-hyung, Yu Yang spots his foe through the thick smoke and debris. Music. He's amazed that Bi-hyung can recover so fast from blood magic. A bit annoyed, Bi-hyung says he was finally starting to have fun. Yu Yang tells Go-ayu he's putting everything into this next strike. Asking him to watch the others, Yu Yang readies for the finale. From afar, the girl feels a massive wave of energy building up. He gathers all his power. Suddenly, a massive pillar of water surges from the ground. Seeing the plan, Bi-hyung notes he's pulled every drop of water from the area music. A terrifying water monster forms. Yu Yang points and commands it to charge, looming over the city. The giant beast rises, frozen in fear. Yuzuru can only stare in shock. Standing by, Go-ayu admits that thing is absolutely huge. He recognizes this magic. It's just like the spell from the Yanghui house. Thinking back to the blast, he notes that such power once leveled an entire house. Yu Yang then calls out the creature's true name, revealing the beast to be Ishimi. With a simple point, he commands it to strike, and the creature blurs forward instantly. The massive water monster surges ahead, locking onto its target with predatory speed. Even while nursing his wounds, Bi-hyung stands tall and challenges his opponent. He dares him to do his worst, even as blood trickles down from his eye. Being shoved back, he digs his heels in to resist the crushing momentum. Stopping short, he finally understands the trick as she blocks the impact with her arm. From the safety of the shadows, Yuzuru keeps a watchful eye on the unfolding chaos. Suddenly, Yoshihiro grabs her, and they both look quite shocked by the turn of events. While shielding the girl, he spots Go-yun weaving a powerful protective barrier. Go-yun completes his high-level move, raising a massive defensive wall around them. The technique is a success, effectively sealing the two safely inside the zone. From above, a perfect sphere sits in a giant crater. Clearly, these two clans do not mix. It appears their methods of controlling water simply cancel each other out. Go-yun sighs, confirming that their teamwork was every bit as clunky as he feared. Catching his breath, Yu Yang eyes the crater and admits joining forces was a smart move. Turning to his teammate, Goat-yoon politely checks if Yu-yong is still feeling alright. He jokes that he just needs a moment to breathe after so much excitement. Peering into the abyss, he wonders if this massive mess was actually the plan. The duo stands at the edge, admiring the immense crater their combined power carved out. Down in the pit, Yoshihiro concludes there are only two ways to look at this. Either he aimed too high, or the enemy just wasn't interested in a real fight. Yu-yong cheerfully clarifies it was definitely the second option. He's already eyeing the next level up, while Go-eun wonders why the enemy is so obsessed. Adjusting his tie like a pro, Yu-yong stays quiet for a mysterious beat. Siwoo and Yuzuru just blink, watching the bizarrely polite conversation between them. Then Yu-yong casually raises a hand and triggers a spell directly into the dirt. A pillar of power erupts from the ground, striking Siwoo with pinpoint accuracy. The blast sends Siwoo tumbling into the rubble, and she screams, "What's the big idea?" She glares at Yu-yong, demanding to know why he'd suddenly attack a teammate. He tells her not to fret, claiming he only did what any polite person would do. Glancing at the defeated Yoshihiro, Yu-yong casually tells him he's free to leave. He assures Yuzuru the danger is over, warning that humans shouldn't meddle in these matters. When the dust settles, the city is left with some pretty epic battle scars. Changing scenes. Our story moves over to a sleek modern office building. Elsewhere, Tao is slumped on the floor, looking a bit worse for wear. Chen approaches him, noting that he's a fellow shadow demon just like himself. He jokes that Tao looks like a tasty snack, but Bi-hyung steps in to intervene. He tells them to play nice, though he honestly wouldn't care if they ate each other. Chen then asks Bi-hyung if he's actually still among the living after that. With a cheerful grin, Bi-hyung admits the kid actually caught him off guard. Explaining the logic, he says the boy understood his magic system perfectly. He reveals that his roots send powerful shock waves vibrating through the earth. That means his skills fail if the ground is shaky. Talk about a clever strategy. He realizes the clever enemy rigged the battlefield on purpose. Chen quips he'll remember that recipe when he's eating him later. Bi-hyung grins impressed the kid has more spine than the Heyday clan. Sipping a drink, Chen asks why he didn't just finish the fight. Bi-hyung sighs at the sky. He wanted to, but someone stopped him. Left in the dark, Chen is totally baffled by that vague answer. She gives her partner a long look, processing that strange explanation. Suddenly, the clouds burst. Bi-hyung retreats since this rain wasn't in the morning forecast. He admits that facing those two in a downpour is far too risky. With a flourish, music, he warns Chen would likely perish mid-fight while he handled Tao and the bodyguards. Flashing a smile. He regrets losing Siwoo, but saves the hunt for later. Elsewhere, Siwoo finally stirs. He stares at the ceiling lights, still clueless about where he ended up. Jolting awake, he wonders where on earth he is now. Ouch! Every muscle screams in protest as he hears someone approaching his hospital room. There is Yu-yong by the bed, casually fiddling with his mobile phone. Vibrating like crazy, the phone starts ringing right there on the bed. Music. Yu-yong picks up, giving his most polite greeting to the caller. He then falls silent, respectfully listening to his superior's urgent response. With a bow, he thanks them and says he is doing fine. After hanging up, he mentions missing work before asking how Seo-jun feels now. Regarding the mask, he explains it only awakened a very short time ago. Its magic boosts power, but it surely drains your energy levels fast. Because of that, he says he really had no other choice. Shutting down that massive power was the only way. He just acted on instinct. Switching subjects, he reveals he needs to discuss his brother, Yu-seong. Music. As the clan representative, he offers a sincere apology for his brother's actions. Siwoo says it's fine, then asks about the identity of the demon. The enemy used goblin magic, so Mang-tae admits he must reveal the truth. At last, Mang-tae reveals the demon's name is Bi-hyung. Music. His very own ancestor. Rain drenches the city as people scramble for cover. Feeling the drops, she notes it even rains here in the human world. She realizes humans are much stronger than she first imagined. Solmi offers thanks for the help, unsure how to handle all those witnesses. Looking back, things would have spiraled out of control without the timely assistance. But Seol-hwa says she should thank Seo for using music up his afternoon, apologizing she felt she caused trouble. At the cafe, the open sign flickers. Nearby, two girls gossip about one of them being dumped by her boyfriend. Overhearing the drama, Solmi covers her mouth in total shock. Totally confused, Seol-hwa asks her friend what all the fuss is about. Solmi giggles, explaining customers only come to see the handsome owner. Strolling into the cafe, the pair heads for the service counter. Goat-yoon looks up, saying they've actually closed up for the day. He realizes who they are and waves. Solmi asks why summon them then. He jokes he barely managed to open the doors this morning. He asks for orders. Solmi wants her usual. Seol-hwa checks the menu. They find a seat. Solmi whines about her caffeine habits while Seol-hwa sips in peace. He returns to the table, suggesting some lovely herbal tea options. Suddenly, Seolhwa snaps, asking what he thinks he is staring at. A voice from the back tells Seolhwa to just chill out. Solmi rushes in, promising he is just a harmless, polite boy. Seolhwa scoffs, claiming she knows this arrogant brat's true colors. She notes that in a blind world, the one-eyed man rules. Solmi adds that a tiny fox is chasing a tiger's throne. Seolhwa explains that even demons have legendary, lifelong arch-enemies. Animal grudges apparently follow them even after they become powerful demons. However, she explains that their original raw strength doesn't always carry over. This fierce rivalry even passes down to the clan's latest descendants. Sensing the heat, Goen tells Solmi there is no need to worry. Cleaning up, he vows not to fight like an unrefined beast. Flaunting her power, she warns she could finish him right now. Totally unbothered, he just shrugs and says that is fine with him. Suddenly, a voice commands the young master to stop his nonsense. Startled, Solmi realizes she can't drop her guard for 1 second. Arriving quickly, she scolds him for starting fights on day 1. He grumbles that the fox gave him the stink eye and threats first. Walking over, she warns that simply following rules isn't always enough. She places a hand on him, revealing he's fighting a VIP. She cautions that if things go south, he'll take the fall. The two realize she had this all planned from the start. Backing off, Seolhwa says she won't hunt the very last tiger. Solmi notes that, despite the sparks, Seolhwa is actually playing nice. She comments on how hilariously ironic this whole situation has become. She adds that his guardian is actually a quite wicked spirit. While the woman scolds him, Seolhwa warns him not to listen. Turning to Go-won, she asks why they were summoned here today. The woman asks for answers as they were meant to hide. Go-won explains the judge is now licensing elite demons to help. He calls for Seolhwa, Hwanwei, and Woo-young to step forward now. He reveals that every other demon has been sent back home. Shocked by the news, Solmi asks about Seo-jun. Hungry-on says he is the special exception. Seolhwa agrees he is tough, but his training is far from done. She warns that as a human he'd be demon food soon. With the deal sealed, she vows to level up Seo for the next 30 days. Sighing, he reminds her that Seo is listening and deserves her full attention. Dropping a bombshell mission, he warns that Seo's very life hangs in the balance. Her new quest, protecting the young hero from the cruelty of his own kind. Back in the recovery room, our hero Seo-jun is finally waking up. Still resting, he wonders if that Bi-hyung guy truly shares his legendary bloodline. Recalling that terrifying face, he puzzles over how many centuries the enemy has lived. Mang-tae drops the news that Demon could be over 1,500 years old. Seo is floored. However, Yu-young explains that average demons only last 5 centuries. One must hoard a massive mountain of dark demonic energy to survive longer. Utterly baffled, Music. Seo asks how they stayed young. Yu-young notes that appearances are often deceiving. Feeling defeated, he laments that his ultimate move didn't even leave a tiny mark. Feeling completely useless. But Mang-tae stops him. He notes that only Seolhwa and Go-yoon match his power, spilling ancient secrets. Mang-tae recounts the Goblin Civil War from 666 years ago. Though victorious, the winning faction was left broken and battered. Music. They nearly vanished. He believed the last survivor perished from his deep battle wounds. Naturally, he assumed Seo was the final secret heir to that ancient legacy. Mang-tae, Music, adds that their short lifespans made his theory seem totally solid. Yet Bi-hyung returned from the shadows looking as powerful as his golden days. It clicks for Seo. They could be family. But why would Bi-hyung hide for all those long centuries? Now they must uncover why his hidden bloodline is suddenly attracting so much heat. Suddenly he asks the big question, is Seo's mother just a regular human? Right on cue, his mother walks in calling out for her dear boy. Memories flood back to a school day where mom was bowing and apologizing endlessly. The teacher gently tells her there is really no need to worry. Calmly, she reveals that an older bully was actually the one who started it. Music. The trouble began when they tried to snatch his best friend's soccer ball. Seo stood his ground, demanding the bullies return the ball to its rightful owner. Luckily for them, Music, the other parents stayed quiet. Mom bows politely, thanking the teacher before they leave. Hand in hand, they walk home through the quiet, peaceful streets. Looking down, she softly asks her son if he is still mad at her. Squeezing her hand, he says he is fine since he chose to fight. She whispers that some battles are fated. Hugging him tight, she prays, Music, that a dark future never arrives. Now Seo finally sees her true intentions. That pinky promise wasn't just about avoiding trouble or scary neighborhood fights. Young Seo Choi made a solemn, heartfelt vow to his mother that day. Looking back, he realizes that request was actually a very special kind of favor. Recalling that warm hug, he feels her love, Music. Even as a kid, he knew fulfilling her wish was his most important mission. He kept that vow faithfully until his demon awakening changed everything. Today, Music. He mentions his dad was actually a legendary fighting champ. He figures those goblin genes definitely came from his old man's side. His mom's just a regular human. He jokes she probably kept it a secret. Gazing off, he realizes his whole life's purpose has totally leveled up. Mangtai nods, agreeing that he's always acted way more human than demonic. Siwoo grins, teasing that it's kind of a bummer. They expected nothing. Yu Yang cheers him on, amazed by how fast he's ranking up lately. Then Mangtai gets serious, wondering if Bi-hyung is plotting something big. Siwoo shouts back, insisting that theory is just totally bonkers and impossible. Mangtai promises he's innocent, leaving Siwoo wondering why he's a marked man. Yu Yang explains the shamans actually think he's Bi-hyung's partner in crime. Siwoo is shocked to hear about all the people mysteriously vanishing lately. Apparently, the police confirmed an entire building's worth of residents just poofed. The internet is absolutely losing its mind over these crazy recent events. Looking grave, he mentions they've been prepping for this for many weeks. The shamans even called in favors from top leaders to keep things quiet. But the whole situation blew up in less than 24 hours anyway. Watching the news, Siwoo sees the mystery of the disappearances is trending everywhere. Mangtai explains the shamans are just trying to cover their own mistakes. Luckily, everyone's safe, but way too many people saw the massive wreckage. The shamans are using this excuse to demand he be handed over. Siwoo admits he acted alone, but Mangtai argues the enemy broke the rules, firmly stating the final choice belongs only to him. Mangtai claims the shamans overstepped. Siwoo says not to worry if he's taken, but Mangtai vows to keep both Siwoo and his mom safe forever. Siwoo's confused wait. Why is his mom suddenly involved in all this drama? Yu Yang breaks the bad news. The shamans have labeled his mom a sinner. The room goes quiet as they both give Siwoo a super serious look. Suddenly, bam, a window in the back just shatters wide open. Without missing a beat, Siwoo makes a break for it through the window. Siwoo lunges to leave, but Mangtai grabs him, saying he gets the rush, blocking his path. He warns it's a trap. He says guards are already protecting his mom. Yu Yang begs him to chill since his powers are getting dangerously high. Dropping to his knees, Siwoo sighs that this whole mess is on him. Even while tied up, he admits things only went south because of him. He feels silly for not realizing his actions would cause such a stir. Getting a bit misty-eyed, he just wants them to understand his worry. He starts powering up, straining with every muscle to snap those bindings. Outside, a massive boom echoes across the city like a thunderclap. All of a sudden, the bindings just shred into pieces. He's finally free. Unleashing his demonic form, he preps for a quick getaway. Everyone is stunned. Mangtai can't believe it. Siwoo broke those with pure raw strength. He apologizes, promising to return once he knows his mom is safe. He dives out the window, racing through the city to find her. The duo just stands there, staring blankly at the wall-shaped hole as the kid makes his great escape. Mangtai asks why he let the boy bolt. Yu Yang just offers a sheepish grin, totally caught without an excuse. He tries to play it off, claiming there wasn't a drop of water nearby to fuel his magic. But when a teammate points out the literal rain falling from the sky, he's left completely speechless. Yu Yang smiles, insisting he was just being nice because his magic usually doesn't break that easily. Mangtai stares at the debris on the ground and lets out a long, disappointed sigh. Stepping up, he admits the whole messy situation is actually his own responsibility. After all, he's not heartless enough to ignore a boy just looking for his mom. Elsewhere, the golden sun begins to dip behind the towering city skyline. A worried mother keeps dialing her son, but the silence is deafening. Then suddenly, the doorbell chimes, cutting right through her anxious thoughts. She walks to the door, calling out to see who is visiting this late. Suddenly, Siwoo appears behind her, commanding silence with a chilling power. Her eyes begin to glow with eerie light. As the door splinters apart, she realizes Solmi was right. Humans really are a nuisance. In a fit of rage, she slams the door shut. Suddenly, a figure stands at the entrance. Yusin warns her that bringing a whole army wouldn't make a single bit of difference. He demands Siwoo kneel if she wants to live whispering a powerful command word laced with magic. It's a terrifying ability that lets her rewrite her target's very senses. Fighting off the mental static, he grips his blade, ready for the battle ahead. Noticing he's holding back, she calls for Solmi to come inside the room. Solmi sighs in relief, admitting she was terrified they'd be too late to help. Still kneeling, Yusin scoffs, calling the local shaman way too weak for the job. With the mother in tow, Siwoo asks to leave, but a massive energy signature stops them cold. An eerie supernatural force begins to envelop the entire city block. Solmi is shaken, sensing a power unlike anything she's ever felt before. Siwoo realizes their instincts are already screaming at them about the danger. Seeing the massive barrier, it's clear they walked right into a carefully laid trap. Standing back up, the shaman wonders why they bothered sending a scout first. He doesn't flinch, squaring his shoulders to face this powerful new threat head-on. Siwoo is stunned. How on earth did he shake off her mental control? With one swift move, he disarms his foe, sending the blade clattering across the floor in a metallic slide. The blade lies still. Totally out of reach, he insists he's not an enemy. He's actually there as her protector. While shielding the woman, Solmi looks at the newcomer with total disbelief in her eyes. Siwoo is skeptical, asking if this guy is truly who he claims to be. He cuts them off, warning that the barrier around the building is tightening its grip. Siwoo scoffs, confident they can just smash their way out from the inside. He looks confused, genuinely not getting why they're treating him like a villain. Siwoo reminds him that in their world he's a shaman, before he's a friend. Solmi nods in agreement, knowing that even a conversation with him is a major risk. He finally gets it, lowering his guard and accepting that he hasn't earned their trust yet. Swallowing his frustration, he decides the only way to prove himself is through a drastic gesture. Watching him closely, Siwoo realizes she saw this coming all along. Suddenly, he begins to strike himself, launching a series of brutal blows against his own body. Stunned by the chaos, the girls freeze. Our hero gasps for air, explaining he just locked his own mana circuits. Bold move. I'm just an average guy, he says, inviting them into his mind. Siwoo warns he's now her puppet. He just huffs and puffs. Acknowledging the danger, he focuses on their safe escape. Solmi asks, why the heroics? With a grin, he says, we're buddies. Music. Siwoo just chuckles, clearly not buying that wholesome friendship line. Solmi adds that he's either a total genius or a massive goofball. Truth accepted. Now what are those shamans plotting? Meanwhile, Siwoo sprints. Home is the goal. He ignores the burn and pushes his limits. Whoa, a massive power level nearby makes him skid to a halt. Something's definitely off about this neighborhood. Talk about a bad vibe. Out of nowhere, a mysterious stranger calls out, you must be Siwoo. Meet Jagwong Im, that name. It's straight from the shaman agency's list. Memories of Yusin flashback. Is this guy working for him too? No more games. The man demands an immediate and total surrender. Bad news. A magical barrier just locked his mom inside. Not cool. He slowly approaches, warning that running will only bring more pain. Time to level up. Siwoo locks in. It's officially go time. Ninja alert. A masked creep sneaks up right behind our protagonist. Surprised, Siwoo spins around just in time to face the sneak attack. Ouch! A heavy kick lands. This masked jerk is actually having fun. He manages a clutch block, stopping the next blow just in time. Sliding back, he resets his stance. But wait, something is seriously wrong. His counter move didn't even leave a scratch. Talk about a tank. He's sucked into the barrier, waking up in a completely different world. It's like a lobster trap, the man jokes. Easy and impossible out. Great, he's officially stuck in this supernatural cage. Now what? Surrender or run, the man taunts. SEO just readies his fists. Game on. And just like that, the atmosphere shifts. A strange hum vibrates in his soul. A familiar voice echoes inside. Moving on pure instinct. The stranger suddenly bolts, leaving Siwoo in the dust. Sprints and more sprints. That massive energy surge is coming from home. He needs to draw them away. Luckily, Siwoo is still there. He's target number one, but Mom is definitely next on their list. Strategy time, he'll be the bait, so Siwoo can make a break. Jagwong lunges with a strike, but Siwoo dodges it like a pro. Nice moves, kid, Jagwong admits. He takes a lightning-fast step forward. He closes the gap, ready to keep the pressure on our hero. Fists fly as the two trade blows. It's an all-out brawl. It's clear now this opponent is on a completely different level. Their powers collide, sending a massive shockwave through the entire area. Shielding himself, Siwoo calculates his next move. Who said this was a duel? Sizing up that massive aura. Sensing the danger, Seo-hyun politely worries about the bystanders being caught in their messy crossfire. A grin reveals the barrier is actually protecting those outside. Seo-hyun notices everyone within the zone is tucked away in a deep slumber. Jagwang scoffs that Seo-hyun should have just surrendered and saved everyone the trouble. The street trembles as Jagwang launches a devastating high-impact strike. Catching the fist, Seo-hyun decides to stop playing nice right now. Gripping his foe tightly, he plots his next move. Shocked, Jagwong can't break free. He tries a flashy technique to hurl his opponent away. With a boom, he craters the enemy into the pavement. A masked figure watches the entire scuffle from the sidelines. He warns that he's being kind by not ending this himself. Jagwang snaps that he's not done yet. Seo-hyun turns serious. Heart. He warns that he's officially done holding back his strength. Jagwang seethes, absolutely livid at the boy's calm, polite attitude. Charging full tilt, he throws everything into one desperate high-speed assault. A heavy kick connects with Seo-hyun, but the young hero doesn't even budge. Jagwang is baffled that his best strike didn't do a thing. He panics, unleashing a rapid-fire barrage of strikes at Seo-hyun. Shocked heart, his attacks are like throwing pebbles at a mountain. Seo-hyun answers with a perfectly timed punch to the jaw. The impact sends Jagwang flying. Seo Hyun turns, glaring at the mysterious masked figure watching from the shadows. He realizes she's just spectating. Taking a step, he warns her he won't hesitate to fight back if she joins in. The masked figure finally moves. From the ground, Jagwang insists he has this handled. The masked figure demands a summon. Jagwang bellows for her to stop stalling and just call it forth. Seo Hyun watches their petty argument, trying to solve the puzzle. Clueless, he just watches the two enemies bicker, but instinct tells him exactly what his next move must be. He deduces that the masked woman is the real power player. Screw the strategy, he decides to strike hard while they're distracted. She reveals her talisman, summoning a literal army of 100 spirits. With a cold command heart, she orders her spirits to charge. Suddenly, blue energy chains bind Seo Hyun's limbs. He struggles against the magic, but it's unbreakable. Then a massive geyser of energy erupts from the earth in one swift move. He bonks her on the head. His protective anti-beast field actually worked. She realizes her holy charms have zero effect on demons. Unleashing his core, a fierce goblin mask begins to manifest. He swings a massive horizontal slash with his weapon. She retreats instantly, making his heavy blow miss. He figures it out. Every magic barrier has a specific limit. Pressing her palms together, she starts a brand new spell. He scans the field, hunting for a hole in her defense. The chant finishes hard. She unleashes a lethal new technique. Seo Hyun puts on a serious face while listening. Holding up 3 fingers, he notes that 3 head shamans and 2 rookies are currently surrounding them. Breaking down the strategy, he shows that these shamans anchor the whole barrier. Sholwa thinks knocking out half of them should shatter the force field. Music? Glancing at the ladies, he warns that this situation is far from simple. Warning them of danger, he says their powers aren't like typical demons. He reveals that shaman arts were made specifically to hunt down demons. It's like a trap. It all comes down to their elemental compatibility. Regarding those 3 chiefs, they're trained to fight high-level special demons. Since a clash is certain, he suggests the girls take on 1 shaman. He'll solo 1 boss while the 2 of them handle the other. He confidently claims to know everyone's stats, but Seolhwa cuts him right off, reminding him that he sealed all his own powers. Speechless, he realizes the plan has a massive flaw. Caught totally off guard, Solmi notes that their mission just got way harder. Seolhwa adds that these shamans clearly don't care about the local civilians. Leaning against door, the boy says they can't fight here. These shamans would easily cover up deaths. Solmi asks why they're so desperate to get their hands on him. The reason these shamans have waited 666 years for this. Confused, Solmi says that the demon's absence brought peace to everyone. He agrees that human society enjoyed a golden age without those monsters. Correcting himself, he notes it was only a golden age for most, with the city behind him. He narrates how humans built society alone, leaving shamans as forgotten old myths. He explains that modern shamans suffer from a massive inferiority complex. Smirking, he predicts that in 6 months, they'll feast on human despair. They'll stop being legends and become rulers again. They lost all their political clout, which is why they're acting out. Capturing the leader is their only way to reclaim power over humans. Solmi can't believe it, questioning if shamans truly ignore civilian safety. Suddenly, a pillar of energy blasts from a nearby rooftop. Hearing the boom, Seolhwa turns and asks what just went down. Shocked, he wonders if the convergence of the 100 has actually started. On rooftops, the masked figure hits the ground, activating a truly high-level skill. First, she chants ancient scriptures to draw out their hidden power. Most shamans use this to gain an energy boost. The second skill is rarer, invoking a deity. To pull this off, the shaman turns their own body into a vessel for divinity. Before him stands a divine general, a god summoned from the heavens. Seo Hyun faces the overwhelming pressure of a powerful deity for once. Suddenly, something inside him starts reacting to that massive energy. Looky here.